Series E.
Series E.
Series E, Apex Legends.
Apex Legends.
Series E. Series E, Apex Legends.
Series E Apex Legends starts right now. All right, welcome everybody to Series E. It is Pro Night here this week. I'm Jamerson, joined now tonight by KP5. Loved having you last week. Thank you for coming back. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful, man. Happy to be back. Excited to be able to jump into the action and see the pros play along with all of our other partner teams.
Yeah, super excited. Last week, it was Team Intel during their sponsored week that were able to win it out. And of course, they did it back-to-back as well last night, taking our 8-game set. They have been incredibly impressive. But here at Series E, of course, we're going to be following suit like every other competitive Apex Legends, where we have the similar breakdown in terms of points. So let's go ahead and take a look at the format. So tonight, we are going to be playing 6 matches. Our 9 partner teams will be facing off against 11 of the pro teams from both the EMEA and from North America. And well, the point breakdown, it works just like it does in the ALGS.
Definitely, yep. So taking it at first, we got first place. You're going to go ahead and be able to rack up 12 points. Obviously, second with 9, third with 7, fourth with 5, and fifth with 4th. And then we kind of go into the breakdowns of the 6 through 7 with the 3 points, 8 through 10 with the 2, 11 through 15 with 1 point, and then 16 through 20th with 0. I'd be really interested to see. I want to see, because I haven't actually been able to be a part of a pro night yet. I want to see how the pros really throw down and get those KPs. And I can see the pros really dropping more kills and getting points for the kills than the placement points themselves. Really excited to see this unfold tonight.
Yeah, that kind of breakdown, we always have that kind of eternal debates about what's better to play. Is it better to play edge, try to get the early kill points? Because it is, of course, 1 point per kill points. And so you need a combination of both of those, really, if you want to succeed. It's not all about just placement. It's not all about just kills. It's about being able to find that middle balance here. And one of the teams that have been doing incredibly well in that regard has been Team RAZER, who have been so consistent week in and week out, hit a little bit of a slump in the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, but I fully expect them to really come back. It's Team Intel who have been rocketing up on our leaderboards. This is our cumulative leaderboards, by the way, all of our 9 partner teams. And so it's the bottom 4 and 5 that really do have to worry. Actually, it looks like even all the way down to Rice Krispies, right? They're at 576 points with Pringles and Nestle Pure Life not too far behind them. And so really only currently right now, the top 3 teams are safe from relegation. And so you need to start stepping it up if you're a team like Team Cheez and Pop Tarts who are sitting there at the bottom.
Definitely. It's cool to see RAZER killing it too. Because I believe last week when I was on, RAZER was killing it as well. So RAZER really holding down that first place spot. I'm really interested to see how Rice Krispies and Pringles does, sitting here pretty close within 11 points of each other. And I want to see if they can kind of jump up and potentially give ROCKSTAR or Intel a run for their money.
Yeah, ROCKSTAR definitely had a very strong beginning of the season. And this is also another team that has been hitting a small slump, I would say, for maybe the last month, allowing teams like Rice Krispies to start catching up. What the interesting part is, of course, Rice Krispies, they have to go for like these variable drops now in a lot of these games. We're seeing them change up their drops, going over to Skyhook, contesting Team RAZER playing around that. And of course, with the pros being added, we have to take into consideration their drops as well. CLG going over to Skyhook is going to make things very difficult for a team like Team RAZER, who are trying to play as consistent as possible. And, you know, with Rice Krispies up there as well, up in Skyhook, we understand that Skyhook is definitely split, can be split by 2 teams, 3 teams. It becomes a different matter altogether.
Definitely. And you got Team Intel coming up here too. You got Teen. It looks like he's back into the action tonight with Intel Hill and Intel Tempest. As we saw last week, Intel was really locking down on the actual sorting factory. And I'm really interested to see how it's going to play out with the pros that are going to want to try to drop there and gather up the lucrative loot.
Yeah, that's right. When we, of course, had our open registration night last night, we know that Intel are basically able to run Sorting Factory, and they very rarely lose the 50-50s there. But with Sentinels in play, Sorting Factory is almost out of the question for them at this point. Where do they go? These are things that we always have to ask ourselves. How do the teams adjust when it comes out to this? And of course, you're also playing in with some of the more unknown factors. I would say Cooler being one of them. A team that typically would drop Fragment East to go elsewhere. They have contested like Team ROCKSTAR all the way in Lava City. I think Cooler have even settled upon Skyhook as well, which is why when we change between the open registration and the pro nights, we really do have to start questioning the 50-50 ramifications at the beginning of the games at this point. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly where everyone drops. It looks like Team Intel are going to take Harvester. And so the loot at Harvester, not the greatest, but you do have a lot of priority being there on the center of the map to a lot of the rotations when the circle reveals itself.
Definitely. And it's like I said right off the bat, you know, Intel obviously not going to Sorting Factory, so it's kind of throwing me for a loop because all 8 games last week that I had casted, it was nonstop Sorting Factory from them, and then they had AMG that was somewhat contesting. So I'm really interested to see how they kind of switch up this drop spot and play it out. And I had misspoken too. It looks like Teen actually isn't playing for Intel currently right now. So I want to see how just the whole movement and the fluidity of the team switches up here.
This is interesting. Rocker is actually playing for Team Cooler right now, so it seems like Dell is not able to play, but we do have Yuki, who's already made his move back up towards Manchester right now for the holidays. Yuki getting the knock onto Max Strafey. And so Cooler will be able to win out this fight. And here we go. This is what we're talking about, the constant changes that are coming out depending on the teams that are in the lobby. Na'Vi, who typically drop over at Frag West, coming over here, contesting over at Lava. And so this is Lava Fissure, excuse me. I forget how many Lavas are actually on this. Here's 303, though, taking their drop over at Overlook. And things are looking pretty decent for them. They do have Scissors as that Pathfinder, but he did not drop all the way to the back. It looked like NPL are actually here contesting them. And so you have to group up. You have to be ready to fight. As Dracos has learned already, only having about 70 HP to his name right now, no heals. And so we have NPL just backing away from this Rambo, taking some damage. We'll see how long they actually commit to this. They have an option to try and back away to their north, but Looks like they want to stand their ground and fight.
Yeah, they're definitely going to sit here and kind of try to hold their ground. They want to make sure that they can maintain the consistency and stay together as a team. One thing I'm really interested to see tonight as well, is I didn't have the opportunity to watch it last week, was I want to see how the teams play and how their actual play style switches up. Being that you have the pros in the actual lobby now, you have Senpai taking down Bambino. And Bambino last week when I was casting was laying down some absolute monster shots. So I'd be really interested to see how Bambino continues to play out through the night. But the one thing is that it's tough because you get into the lobbies with these massive teams, and it looks like 303 is going to take out all of MPL there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was all three.
Yep. And so NPL are out, and now we're already down to 18 squads remaining here. Third Impact, though, always finding themselves in a fight over at Sorting Factory, Survey Camp. As it looks like they might have a Gibraltar right underneath them. Currently, it is Team Pop-Tarts on the other side. Armor's better, definitely on the other side for Third Impact at this point, as the high ground is just something that they cannot contest. Now, we do have Fat Fruit Ninja trying to climb up. Will he be able to get the flank, or were they able to force out this high ground position from that Pathfinder? Lucas is taking a lot of damage there inside the building. It's going to be Fat Fruit Ninja from above dropping down. Here's the bubble, but they've already lost Blight. Ballon gets that thirst, and that's going to be the armor swap for the squad. Fat Fruit Ninja will continue that push down onto the low. He sees that blue armor out, so he knows that the person is relatively close by. We'll go ahead and peek. It's the 66 with the Mastiff, but it's the double swing out from Third Impact, and it's all up to Fat Fruit Ninja. Number disadvantage, and he gets swung on and he gets taken out.
You had Balin and Zeke there, I believe, were kind of wide swinging there, and it looks like Balin just got taken out actually here too. These guys, Balin and Zeke, these guys, yeah, you get a lot of people coming in. You got the 112 with the Massive coming in on the massive hit on the Wraith. Hambino taking down Zeke and Strictly finishing up the kill there on Balin, and it looks like they are going to go down and re-gear up for the next match. But I was going to say Balin and Zeke, God, those guys have been around for years. I mean, I've been playing against those guys for at least the last 5 years, and all kinds of different Battle Royale titles. Those are some dedicated people there, dedicated gamers, and very, very talented individuals. So I love watching them play as a team. It's fantastic. You got Crummy taking out Clane Season, Pander's taking down Lion, and it looks like Rockstar here is going to have some loot boxes and be able to potentially loot up and get geared up for the next fight. And
yeah,
you got the full team sim slide.
Go right ahead. The full circle coming down to, down here to Countdown, and we have TSM trying to find a good position. But as we swap on over to Lava Fissure once again, it's Team Liquid making the rotate down very slow on the prio, as it looked like they were probably going through trials. As you can see, we do have that Gibraltar, of course, with the gold armor on himself, as I believe Applejacks have been finished off. Cooler are actually still here in the area. Yuki getting that first knock onto Nocturnal. They try to back away. They do have the bubble res and the air burst coming out for Flanker. He'll pop the Beast of the Hunt as well as they make their escape, and looks like they'll have to find another avenue to try and get out, but Cooler are right on top of them, setting up the crossfires. You got one on the right, two pushing up now as Yuki decides to just pull back off of this fight, and they do not commit to this one as Liquid have already gotten out.
Definitely, yeah. Right there, that's the right call. Both teams are kind of reset, and they were able to get back with, having the bubble, dropping the Bloodhound ult, and basically they're in a point right now where they got to start working on rotating, and I think Yuki realized that, and Yuki was like, all right, let's pull off, let's continue to make our way towards the safe zone. And of course Liquid appreciates them pulling off, because Liquid can kind of reset and start making their way towards the safe zone as well.
Now it's CLG that are still over at Sorting Factory, another squad that had a very far rotate for themselves, but it doesn't seem like they were able to pick up the beacon. Rather, they would have been in, I would say, a much better advantageous spot, or maybe they're just trying to play a little bit more of the edge at this point with the swap off, of course. Finally swapping off from the Watson, the very center zone oriented style here. So CLG are going to try to find those kill points in the early game, which has been something that they have not been able to do for some time, as we are now on board with Team RAZER over here at Sorting Factory as well. And so this might be two teams who will meet up very shortly. But hey, a gold cargo bot. That's a nice pickup for Mercy only, but unfortunately, no
Ooh.
armor. It's just going to be the gold stabilizer coming out for Mercy only.
Gold stabilizer, though, that's always something that's super clutch to have. I mean, I feel like, especially utilizing the 301 there like he has, he's going to be able to really take those shots from afar and be accurate and have a nice, clean, tracking on any sort of enemy that might be, moving right to left to right in the open field. So anytime I see a gold stabilizer while I'm playing, I always want it because I'm the one that's going to be laying down shots and firing the most. So it's always nice to have that, top tier barrel stabilizer.
And here's the problem that Cooler ran into that you were talking about. You need to move a little bit faster there, and you can't get caught out like that. We had Rice Krispies with a nice high angle over Cooler, forcing them over to the train tunnel. Here's ROCKSTAR, though, as it looks like they were able to secure a building for themselves down here in the south side of the zone currently, as CLG's Vax actually gets a knock onto Tech, and Panders will be able to finish him off. As that's a great pickup, getting rid of one of the brains on 2 brains, 1 controller. Bowser and Noct are able to compete today. Very unfortunate. We'll see if they can recover him and get him rezzed. It is still the second zone, so there's an opportunity for them to try and bring him back. There is that respawn just to the north of them at Sorting Factory, but we know that CLG and I believe it was Team RAZER are still in the area, so this is still a difficult task.
Absolutely, and I think the toughest part about, especially in the pro night, is any team that's going to notice any type of advantage on a team. They realize that, hey, two brains, 1 controller, they're man down, and they can see them start kind of going towards the res beacon. And if they realize, hey, it's only 2 of them, they're gonna just jump on them. They're gonna take the opportunity to get the KP. And to get the loot and then continue making their way forward. So they got to be careful with their push in, especially tonight, because the competition and the level of skill is just that much higher.
Yeah, we're down to 14 squads here as we're 45 seconds away from this ring closing now. Team RAZER going for a very far eastern wrap now, as it's 303 who have made their way into Sorting Factory, getting shot up. By, I believe that's 2 brains, 1 controller on the other side of the hill. They spotted 1 team down on the low as they do hit for flash, and it's going to be Noct to go down. So that might have been that rescue attempt by Noct to try to get his teammate Tech back into the game. Very unfortunate being caught out during that. And it's so risky, like you said. We have so many cracked players in the lobby, and that's what happened. If they can press the advantage, they will. And that is what 303 did.
Yeah, and see that's just kind of what I go base off of, is just like knowing what it's like to be in that position, right? Being in the position of the team that's 3 up versus the team that's 2 up, and then I've been in the other position where it's 2 of us up, and we got a team that's 3 up, and they're going to hold us. Obviously, you want to get your teammate up and you want to res them, so you come back to a full 100% squad. But sometimes it's just not worth it because they could have potentially just kind of stuck it out a little bit longer, maybe had a different rotate, moved somewhere else, and they could have at least gotten some better placement points, if anything. So they go down. It's unfortunate, but hey, we got 5 more games to go after this, so they got plenty of time to recoup and gather some points for themselves.
Yeah, Team RAZER, speaking of points, one of the most consistent point earners in our of our partner teams, as Team Cheez-It are getting gatekept here as they were trying to make their rotation into the south part of this ring. As you can see, it is going to be pulling down. They know they have that information with the scan itself, as Strictly is forced to use that Q. Just get out of dodge, and they've dropped to the low. Luckily for them, of course, with so many teams still in the area, no one can really go for the wide peek onto them, trying to look down at them. Otherwise, they leave themselves vulnerable. And so Cheez-It find themselves in a nice little stalemate where they're not getting pushed upon. Team Rice Krispie Treats, though, here on the northwest side of the zone over by Tree now. Looks like they do have a team ahead of them, as defensive bombardment is coming down on top of Sung, I believe. Took some damage off of that. He's taking even more as he's trying to stick to these cells for now. A lot of ordnance coming in, raining in on Rice Krispies as Stunny goes for a wide peek to try and stem this push. But now he is forced back. He does have the dome, for that fast heal, but Now he's under so much pressure. The Nox gas grenade will be used by Sung to try and slow down this push, but it's aim assist, and this is one determined team, especially if they've already gotten the knock. That's Bird to fall down. Stunny should be next with only 1 HP left, and Team Rice Krispies are just falling apart at the seams. It's only Stunny alive, but he does get finished off. And so that will be Cooler coming in to finish off Stunny as Solifide hold this high ground. And they've got Cooler now underneath them.
And Solifide's got to stay here. They got to hold them here. These guys got to rotate towards them, or they got not towards them, but kind of out in the open. So Solifide has got a good advantageous position that they have. And it looks like Cooler is actually going to take the option to take the wide wrap for the rotate, because they know if they try to peek out on the open there, they're going to get absolutely lit up by the controller players.
Here's CLG still holding this platform over at Sorting Factory, and so they have full committed on trying to play the edge. And so this is an interesting development coming out of the squad right now as Madness gets that first knock onto Flanker. Now he's going to chase after to try and get that one additional KP for the squad now. It's the Wraith that he's chasing here as Madness has one on the low,
Good
but
call.
it looks like someone calling him back. You cannot overextend with 20 seconds left to go before you have to make this rotate into the next circle. 303 are pushing on CLG now. It's 303 with the high ground. Oi Senpai with the Sentinel out. Go ahead and charge that one up before he goes for the shots. Madness will be able to secure that kill onto Flanker as 303 are still looking to try and keep them pinned down here.
And I believe Flanker was the Wraith that Madness was originally laying shots on and chasing, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously Madness was still able to get pick up the kill that he wanted, all while being smart and being called off and rotating back and making sure that he stayed with his team. That way they can regroup and then get ready to move into teams that are rotating in for this new safe zone, and then setting themselves up to be in a better position as well.
Ooh, Yuki was able to get a knock onto Scissors up there over by Sorting Factory right now, but it's Solifide who are looking for some sort of entry here. There's a Rampart in play. LG trying to pick that one up. Ron, their newest addition, of course, does go down first. Resulta is able to pick that one up, and despite the vision impairment, of course, by the caustic gas, they're going to have the scans that'll give them the additional information now as they are trying to make their way on in. The barrels, though, slowing things down. We have gone into full bunker mode here with the caustic, with the Rampart, trying to control every which way, and the EMP comes out. So LG expending a lot of their utility to try and slow down SF. It looks like they were able to, at the very least, get the res, but are they going to be able to stabilize to try and take this fight? Don't know how long Solifide will stick onto them to try and secure those kill points, or if they have to start rotating. I mean, they have plenty of time to work with here, KP5. There's a minute and 20 seconds before the zone starts closing, and here is the push out.
Yep, here it comes.
It looks like it was Cooler of all teams that were trying to get aggressive onto them off the back of a knock onto Resulta now. Gentrifying, falling back with that port. It's LG retaking the high ground away from Solifide. Here comes a push. It's all up to Designful in a 1v3. LG not perfectly healthy, but they have the numbers advantage.
And it looks like Designful was trying to bait the res there to get him to jump out and try to peek. Designful's got the portals that he's able to utilize. He's going to try to sneak back in. And he does get through. If he can get inside, he might be able to set himself up here.
Oh, LG are trying to make their move, but there's just too much in the way. They lose Ron throughout all of that. They have to get rid of that wall to get him back up. Still, they have time. 40 seconds before the zone starts closing. They are on the very edge. They're not being pressured quite yet. Never mind, Stanny, though, will try and hold the angle as the Wraith pushes up from the high ground. The caustic barrel's doing so much damage. It's going to be legit lolly to go down. And now they will try and make their exit, retaking the high ground. 303, though, are here to play gatekeeper, but it's been enough time left for LG to just fully stabilize off the back of this fight. And having lost one now, the numbers advantage going back over in favor of LG.
So now it looks like 303 is actually going to start making their rotate and start to rotate a little bit earlier here. So it looks like LG might be kind of in a sticky situation here, because if they don't go right now, which they're going to have to, they're going to run into 303, which is in front of them here. And I could see 303 potentially gatekeeping them and not let LG, kind of cross and come through the cave there.
Here's Team RAZER. They were evicted from their building, taken to the low ground now, as none of that really is in. they've got a team above them, scans out, defensive bombardment in front of them as well, and here they go making their move. Aculo finding a little bit of cover behind this box as he pops that bat. The rest of his squad will go ahead and slide down. It was Team ROCKSTAR up here who have been playing this position basically from the first zone, as Crummy considering maybe we just play inside the building for now. They've also got the scan for us as well, so we'll continue to pull over to that beacon. It's LG though. During that move you were talking about, you had to make it a little bit sooner. 303 were able to punish them. They've got the knock on to Rugby, they've got the knock on to Standy, and unfortunately for Ron, as he tries to go for that res, just falls into the zone, takes too much damage, and he has to pull off of it. It's going to be Sentinels up top that ultimately went out in this exchange though. They've been playing this position for quite some time now, and they'll be able to hold on to it. But now with a minute to go, with the zone pulling away from them, what is their plan?
You know, Sentinels here right now, they're going to continue to try to hold the top here. They're going to actually, I'm sorry, they're dropping down now. We're gonna have a bubble, potentially versus bubble fight, but never mind. It looks like they're just gonna clear him out, and it looks like they took down 303 there.
Hill got stuck with the nade there, but fortunately for him, of course, he's able to just back off into the rest of that shipping container as we are on board with Team Intel. As at the beginning of the game, we saw them over at Harvester. This was a rather fast rotation for them. Of course, definitely having priority over a lot of teams. Sentinels, though, it looked like they were trying to set up a port, but Retzi had to pull off of that one. He just took a little bit too much damage. So they're going to reset now just before the zone starts closing. Here's Matt Pickett now sliding in with the rest of his squad. And this is surprising as they're able to just walk in for free from the south side here. It looks like Crummy has another idea as we swap on over to RAZER. We're on the northeast side. Zone is closing in. They have Intel just shooting over at them from the low ground now. It's very difficult as Intel are going to be able to throw down their barrels for some additional cover, along with some vision obscurement. Defensive bombardment has been used as well, and Mercy only goes down to Sentinels now. It's Team RAZER pushing in, thinking this is their last-ditch effort to try and find a spot in the safe zone, losing out, but it looks like they will be able to clean up Team RAZER. But ROCKSTAR are here to be the ultimate winners. Now, here is ROCKSTAR on the low ground. They still have to recover Matt Pickett. It's TSM now making their move on Sentinels, already getting 2 knocks, and that is Sentinels out. TSM bide their time, and now they've got the loot. They just need to heal up, along with Matt Pickett, though. And so both sides looking to stabilize before this next engagement. But RAKANISHU hits the beautiful hemlock shots. He's now down to 1 clip left, but they have the numbers advantage, and they want to press this here. RAKANISHU falling back one more time. And now he's going to be left to just that EVA 8. It's the Massive in the hands of Crummy, though, as they try to swap off weapons. Imperial Hal still bleeding out, but TSM try to get aggressive off this. Snipe down will fall to Matt Pickett, and it's Team ROCKSTAR to take game number 1.
And I'm telling you, it's RAKANISHU with the hemlock. I mean, that right there gave them the time to just be able to jump in there. Awesome, amazing pick by RAKANISHU there with the hemlock to take out Imperial Hal, and an amazing push by the team. They put the pressure on Repson, they put the pressure on Snipe Down, and they were able to come out clutch. Big shout out to ROCKSTAR winning game 1.
Yeah, so amazing win coming out from Team ROCKSTAR here. We were talking about a team that needed to bounce back and find that momentum. This might just be it for them. That was game number 1. We're going to go ahead and take a short break, but when we get back, we'll have game number 2 of Series E right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just had Team Rockstar taking game number 1 here in the pro night of Series E. We have 5 more to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at how much of lead they might have accrued after just one game. They have a 7-point lead now over TSM, who TSM had a very, very silent game there. It seems like maybe they got into the center zone early on, and they were just waiting out that position because the only 3 kill points they picked up were off of Team Sentinels, who Team Sentinels themselves. It looks like they had 5 kills to their name. And so we have TSM and Sentinels tied for second currently, with Team Rockstar in the lead by 7 points.
Rockstar's coming off that win too. They got to be hyped up. You know, when you get into like this level of competition, being able to take out some of the top dogs. I mean, the old TSM team being the X Games gold medalists from 2019. It's just crazy to see. Basically, you have these up and comers that are just nasty, and they're able to take out the top dogs, and they're able to make a name for themselves. And this is what it's all about. You know, I loved when I was getting started and really being able to take out the top dogs, and you feel so much more accomplished. So I feel like Rockstar is going to go into game 2 with all kinds of momentum, ready to just to frag out.
Yeah, we'll see if any other teams can bounce back. I mean, it seems like there's a very large concentration of teams to the north once again. I mean, this is another small narrative that Tom and I were able to find last week as well. I mean, teams like Liquid, RAZER, CLG, all these teams that are coming in from the north side of the map are having difficulties rotating in when the ring ends up pulling down very far to the south here. Taking a look at our squads, TSM, Central Team, Sentinels, Central Team, Intel as well coming in from Harvester, and Rockstar being gifted basically a southern zone coming in from Lava City. These are our top 4 teams, and they're the top 4 for a reason. They were able to get the center of the zone, find primo spots, and basically just went out in the late game.
And that's the thing that makes Battle Royale so interesting and so intriguing to play and watch, is because last week we had, what was it, the first 4 or 5 games in a row was Northeast zones every single time. Now we're seeing a little bit more, like you said, a different narrative where you have these northern teams that are struggling to rotate in because these zones are pulling more further south. And that's what's really interesting, because out of nowhere, we could have, 2 or 3 south zones, and then boom, a northwest zone, or boom, a northeast zone. And it can really affect the placements. It can affect how the teams play. It can affect how they rotate. And it can affect the results in the long run.
Yeah, and so we will be joining on board with Team Rockstar, like I said, dropping over at Lava City. And typically when they go uncontested and they have I guess an easier path throughout the mid game, they succeed quite frequently, quite well. We got to see that there. Of course, they were able to hug the south side of the map, making their way into basically the final zone, and had an early rotation and early priority on a really good spot there. In the past, we've seen Cooler dropping down and contesting them here, but this time around, Cooler are, of course, dropping over at the other lava, Fissure, and we'll see if they continue to fight off drop up against Na'Vi over at Lava Fissure, while Team Rockstar just have all the primo loot from Lava City.
I think Rockstar, like I said, kind of following up on my last comment, I think Rockstar is really going to come in with a lot of momentum. That's a huge win to take first place in game 1, especially against TSM, with the clutch play recognition coming back in with the Hemlock to take Hal down within like a second and a half. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Rockstar get a little bit more aggressive this round, drop in, and try to go right off the rip to potentially fight.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, a lot of this is dictated again by how the zone favors everybody at this point. We do tend to see a lot of the times, if we have an early circle one side, that it'll continue to pull on down. Here it is, your winners from game number 1 with 7 kill points under their belts. And of course, that one win, they're currently leading by 7 right now. It is going to be Third Impact, though, once again in this fight over here by Epicenter. Last time it was Pop-Tarts who ended up losing this 50-50, and Jazz is already starting things off. It's a 1-for-1 exchange, though, but we have one member of Third Impact currently very hurt, trying to heal up above Fat Fruit Ninja right now. But oh my goodness, Jazz with the second knock. He will drop down on this path, and that was a beautiful fight for Third Impact as they do pick this one up. Now you have to wonder, is anyone over at Refinery ready to come in for the third party? And it doesn't look quite like it. So third impact should be able to recover.
Third impact, it's good to start off the game here too, winning that area, so that way you can kind of have the area to loot for yourself. Like you said, you do got to pay attention and watch out for the third party. As we had kind of seen, it looked like there was no third party coming in, so they're going to have time to be able to kind of reset, heal up, get the loot that they need, and they continue rotating in and working on their KP. You have Cheez-Its over here. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, excuse me. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to cut you off. Cheez-Its over here. It looks like Nades is still struggling, trying to find some shield. That's one thing that you definitely want to make sure you have, or hopefully you can find. Now, obviously, we see that he does have the white Evo shield here, so he's going to be able to snag that. That's one thing that's tough. I feel like anytime I feel like if I'm running around Apex and I don't have any shields, I feel like naked running around. I'm like, I have to have, even if it's white shields, I have to have something that I feel like I can use to my advantage to jump out on somebody and take some shots. So luckily, they're all able to get geared up, and we're jumping back on board with Team RAZER. Team RAZER, I'm expecting hopefully to see some action from them, as these guys are the ones that have been popping off week after week. And I want to see how they play this, as they are currently right now in the geyser area. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, they have a bunch of these open buildings here that they have all to themselves for loot. And they might actually be starting to rotate out now currently.
Yeah, ring looking fairly central, pulling down a little bit to the south there, so indicating maybe sorting factory. And that is exactly what it's going to be, as you can see that secondary ring coming out, but it still leaves a lot of ground, a lot of end zone that can be played out. And so nothing quite set in stone yet. We need to wait for that third ring to reveal itself before teams have to make some final decisions here. But Nestle Pure Life are going to be happy, I think, with holding this position for now. This is a spot that can be easily guarded, and also affords you the sight lines to pick up some KP if teams are moving through sorting factory or fighting over there.
Yeah, and being able to have an MPL, being able to lock down that building, they don't have to do much. They have the loot that they need. They're just waiting on people to come by, and they're waiting to lay down shots. And now we have
TSM.
RAZER that's in a fight currently. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, TSM in a fight with RAZER right now, and I would say that, you know, if this was old TSM, this was a little bit of a slow rotation path coming out from them. Of course, where they typically drop over at Fragment East, and they're already moving by about a minute 30. But here is a minute, or excuse me, the zone already closing, and TSM just got to this choke. RAZER almost cut them off here, but fortunately enough, they were able to take control of these buildings. Reps buys enough time, and TSM continue their looting path, and now they're moving their way into sorting factory.
Yeah, and knowing how, I know how, especially after last game, how he wants to play it aggressive. He wants to take him out. They laid down some solid shots on them, but they did end up pulling off. And Hal was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's just continue to rotate. Let's work our way towards sorting factory. If we can establish a position here in this circle area, we can. If not, we can potentially get into a building and start holding down the angles. So I would say, you know, well played by TSM, you know, and good call by Hal, because I know Hal is more than likely doing the IGL work right now, telling the team to pull off and just get into sorting factory and start setting up.
Ooh, there's a full squad in here in front of LG. Never mind, it was just a duo. Klein got taken out earlier on, and so Kenny and Lion are the only ones remaining here. Ron, we saw he got into that drone and instantly popped that EMP as he got shot at. As team, we do have a fight though. Team Cheese is taking on Team RAZER over here on the northern side, and so that's the other rotation. This is why I believe, you know, Hal called for TSM to pull off of that fight, not to fully engage onto Team RAZER, because other squads were running in. That's the kind of rotation timing you see, some of the slower rotation timing coming out from other squads now. So Team RAZER themselves are not going to get overly greedy off of that knock. They're just going to try and get the knocks from across the ways. That's TSM involved in this as well, getting shot at from multiple angles. There's a team inside the toilet bowl right now, as Intel have found themselves in a fight. Oh boy, knocks either way up against Team Sentinels. It's a 2v2, make that a 1v2 now, but Hill has got nothing left to work with, as Sentinels were already able to recover, get the res, and pick up all this loot. This is Team Sentinels' stomping ground. They want to make sure that everyone knows it.
And TSM is in a sticky situation right now, because you have RAZER that's just being pests and taking shots from them from afar. TSM's kind of locked down and stuck where they are. You got Halkilo that's pushing up and getting a little bit more aggro. Obviously drops as he's getting shot at. But TSM's got to be careful because just directly to their southwest, they do have LG that is going to be hearing these shots and is going to try to potentially get aggressive on them, especially if they see the names in the kill feed of, who's knocking who and who's doing what.
Yeah, they lost out on Snipe Down as well. So TSM, again, still trying to poke and prod and keep these teams down. But Imperial Hal takes a big headshot, gets the armor swap for himself. But still, that's going to signal the aggression coming out from the other side. Team RAZER now fully on top of them as Hakulo gets the knock onto Reps, and Imperial Hal is the only one alive. Reps gets thirsted off. Hal doesn't even have his Q here for another 18 seconds. I'd be surprised if he survives this one, and he will fall. Mercy only takes him out. Here on the southwest side of the zone, though, we have Solifida getting into a fight. Resulta did get knocked, but because of that, it looks like they'll have to stop their aggression for now. Designful just backs away and allows the rest of his team to just recover as we now join ROCKSTAR, who are still here at Lava City. Knowing that this ring continues to pull down to the south, they're going to be able to just hold on to this angle for now. They have multiple routes to rotate for this next zone.
Yeah, ROCKSTAR, they're sitting pretty right now. They're sitting in first place, and they don't necessarily have to worry too much about being aggressive and gathering KP at the moment. They can worry more so about positioning and then allowing themselves to be in an advantageous high ground position like they currently are. And they're going to be taking pop shots and trying to pick at people. Obviously, you have Matt Pickett with the triple take. Matt Pickett hits his shots with a triple take. It can be detrimental to another team. So they're going to take their time here. They're going to hit this this ring beacon here, or excuse me, that for lack of a better term, they're going to hit the robot there to figure out where the next zone's going to be coming in at as well. And they're chilling. They don't have to do too much right now. They're just going to continue to let these teams collapse on each other. And then they're going to slowly but surely work their way into the zone. They're going to hold the angles, and they're going to do their best to start picking people off as they're rotating.
Yeah, you can see the pings coming out for them as well, and the ring does not pull on over that way. Fortunately, it might be just going over to Sorting Factory proper. There are multiple different end zones that come up there. The Sentinels will pick up the beacon information for us as well. So if we can, let's go ahead and press that map button to take a look at it now. We've had our second opportunity, and there it is, going right on over Sorting Factory. But still, I said we'd need the third ring to really know where teams want to play. But when you have a zone like this with so many different variations for that end circle, we still don't know what the best position to play is right now.
Sentinels, and they're well aware that they have teams are all around them. If I'm not mistaken, right here to the left where we have the triple take, looking at is, I believe, Team RAZER that is up there. So RAZER kind of in a good position right now, holding the high ground, able to kind of oversee all of Sorting Factory. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay, so it is RAZER that is further back. So RAZER is not on top. So it looks like there's a team in between RAZER and Sentinels.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many positions for teams to be playing. The big office, receiving building there, just to the left of Mercy Only, can house 3 to 4 teams itself. Big damage coming out onto Zeratricky, though, from the Harvester connector. Forces out the bubble early on from Zeratricky, so he's not going to have that for a little bit. They are going to be a little bit vulnerable, but that's not going to stop Hakulo from looting up. Now they're getting the armor swaps as well, setting up for this late game. Here's ROCKSTAR, and this is what I was talking about, having multiple routes to rotate through. Because they have a team in their sights. They've already taken out one. That's strictly to get finished off. We'll see if the rest of Team Cheez It falls now as they are continuing their hunt.
Yep, and this is what goes to say, ROCKSTAR, like you said, they're kind of controlling the rotates. They're controlling the map. They know what's going on. They know where they are. They know what they have around them. And ROCKSTAR's going to take the option to take a right flank here, but we're going to hop on board with Solifida here, and Gentrifying starting to lay down some massive shots. Resulta taking out Nasky. And it looks like we have a bunch of people popping off. Resulta laying down some shots on the Gibraltar there in the bubble. Designful is knocked. Gentrify's got to heal up. So Solifida's got to kind of pull off a little bit here and hope that they can reset.
Yeah, it looks like NPL, CLG, a lot of teams getting involved in this third-party attempt. But it was ultimately CLG who basically evict everyone else out of this position. This is now CLG's high ground along with the CLG's loots, as Vaxlon will go ahead and peek out with that Gibraltar arm shield, expertly playing around the cover there. A small sliver of the window, as now it looks like no recovery for that player that's currently knocked in front of them. It's going to be Pal to be able to finish off Designful, getting that thirst for themselves, as Vax now hunts down with Madness. They'll be able to pick off the rest of Solifide.
Vaxlon with the EVA 8 auto too. You know, sometimes that gun is so powerful in those situations where you're putting pressure. You have two of you that are swinging wide. You have one frying them with an automatic weapon, usually like a 301 or an R99, and you just have Vaxlon sitting there with the EVA 8 auto just popping shots left and right, especially these guys. I think he had the bolt on there as well, so that gun just fires so fast, and it does so much damage if you connect all of the actual pellets of the shotgun bullet.
And he will swap off to the Mastiff, though. That's kind of the go-to weapon when you want to bubble fight. Knowing, of course, having that big upfront burst instead of having to go for multiple peaks with that EVA 8. So now with CLG, they do have the ring pulling away from them, as it looks like there's some fighting still going on over at Sorting Factory. CLG spotting out a team on the rotate, unable to hit those shots uncharacteristically is Vaxlon. But with that team running away, Madness understands that there's going to be room for them to move up. Here's ROCKSTAR. They've wrapped around all the way to the north side of the zone here. You know, they've been hugging the favored endings, basically. But, oh, boy, NPL up in a fight against Sentinels now. They've already gotten two. It's hard to tell who's still alive. These names, I have no idea what's going on. But Sentinels, they are out. They only cracked the top 14.
I was wondering what was going on the naming convention there. I was trying to call out. I'm like, no, I can't say those names. You have Madness, though, getting aggressive now with the R99. He's got the massive combo going with it. They do have the bubble that they can drop back in, which, of course, they're going to utilize. And it looks like CLG might be calling for a little bit of a pull-off. No reason for CLG to be this aggressive in this fight right now. They can pull off, reset, get healed up, and then get ready for the next encounter.
It looked like CLG were just hoping that at the end of this fight, MPL didn't recover. And so that's why they didn't full commit. They went in for the burst. If they didn't get the knock, they wouldn't commit to the fight until they just instantly back up off of that. It's MPL now controlling the north side of Banana, but they have to ever worry about the looming threat of CLG now to the south. So Bambino will keep an eye out here, while Dracos and Rambo keep an eye on the rest of Sorting Factory. With all these buildings in the zone right now, you have to do your due diligence. Keep track of all the teams around you.
And it looked like CLG was actually kind of making a slow turnaround back towards MPL and trying to put some shots and some pressure onto them. I'd be interested to see if CLG plays it a little bit more aggressively or if they pull off. Look at Senpai just up on the high ground with the charge rifle being an absolute animal, laying down those shots and being tediously annoying to the teams that are just trying to heal up here and use these crates and angles to try and heal. And of course, you have Senpai up there as the Gibraltar, also having the shield, so really can't do much in regards to trying to get him off top of there right now.
I believe that was Team ROCKSTAR taking position inside the blue bins for now, but yeah, the absolute oppression coming out from Oi Senpai. He does have that orbital laser coming in from that high ground position. That's what you afford yourself when you run this Pathfinder composition. You have access to high grounds that most other teams do not have anymore. And so they have been using that extremely well, holding on to the smokestacks here. But they will probably be forced out of this position. We'll see if the ring does pull very heavily to the east here. I would be surprised if it did that, though, KP.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the zone does here. Obviously, you have Senpai that's still laying down shots, and he's laying down shots into NPL now. So NPL's got to be careful because NPL has the they're kind of caught in an angle. They're caught there in Banana. They have CLG behind them, and then of course they have 303 that's out there to the east that is laying down shots on them. So they might actually sort of move. They might move for a new position, or maybe just kind of move up in Banana a little bit and try to solidify a more of a middle Banana placement. And try to push CLG further back.
Here's two brains, one controller doing what they do best, securing an amazing spot in the center of the zone, really utilizing the ring information for themselves, as now it's CLG trying to find a spot. The Wraith portal has been used, but with 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go, they might just have it in time again if they need to use it just at the end here. They do get scanned though, and so they'll have to be a little bit wary of that. And the threat from their north can actually pose a huge risk for them on this rotation, but it doesn't look like they're actually giving it that much mind.
Yeah, CLG, I think they're in a good position right now. They have somewhat control of Banana. They're going to be able to move into the zone quite freely. But once they actually get into the safe zone, they might start fighting, and they might get contested. And you got MPL and Navi going at it right now. Dracos, no shield. You have Rambo, super weak, and then you have Bambino, which is also weak. So it looks like MPL. Oh, I'm sorry. You have Bambino's team and MPL trying to pull off here and potentially reset and get some heals up. However, though, Bambino's laying down the shots. He's got the R99 in massive combo. In the hands of Bambino, having that R99, he can hit those shots consistently and can just drop somebody, one clip him here. And as you can see, he's going to push in 2v1 there, spraying him down, and then they're going to completely jump on this advantageous position. And it's now a 2v1, laying down a massive 105 massive shot, and you have the MPL taken down Draco's, or I'm sorry, you have MPL taken down. Was that Solafide, correct?
I believe not Solafide. Oh man, I already forgot. And we got another fight though. ROCKSTAR trying to take this high ground position. They do have someone else in front of them. Might be 303. It is, as they get taken out now. Is trying to fight over the crane. Here's CLG. I was wondering if they were going to ever get involved in that fight from just beforehand. Instead, they take the roof route and try and get the high ground position, rotating in with the zone now. Beast of the Hunt has been popped for POW, as it looks like they are saved by these HVAC ducts. There's a knock here just in front of them. They're waiting out that bubble to secure that kill. That's hundreds going down. Now, this can be a very difficult position to play. As you can see, Vaxlon going down. Madness does not have the port for them. Unfortunate, as Vax now getting just pelted by the defensive bombardment of that squad. It looks like Team Pringles might have just gotten finished off as well, as Nocturnal will pick that one up. It was Dracos from NPL. I was able to get that kill now, as it looks like another defensive bombardment coming down, and this time around, Madness does not have a Q to work with. He just drops down to low, and just like us, we're surprised that he is not getting focus fire down. And so he weathers the storm and will retake the high ground with his squad, but now they have to play as a two-man.
Yeah, and Vaxlon and his teammate CLG, they're gonna have to start making their rotation northeast now, and they need to take the top of the building, because you do have MPL that is sitting down here below them. So they do have to start rotating now. I think if they do it right now on top, they will be able to get in front of MPL and potentially hold them out from rotating in.
Scan out from Bambino reveals the two CLG members that are off to their west right now. It's Rambo on a scouting mission on his own with that Wraith. CLG, they have an option to try and creep along the building there, as it's still such a difficult position to be playing from, a man down now, especially losing out on Vax, not having that dome of protection to work with. RAZER's Mercy only, though, finds a knock onto 303. As Rice Krispies, they have a nice building here inside the zone for now. Here's Team Liquid making their move. They are playing from the rooftops now as they slide along. A lot of teams to their low, as it looks like 303 are getting cleaned up. They've lost Scissors, they've lost Oi Senpai. Now that's Liquid maintaining this position on the roof here, spotting a squad out in front of them. And Albralele will be able to get that knock here. Come out the nades. Taculo playing as a rat just below them as well. Actually in the building to their northeast currently. Oh, the Wraith drops down, and that's not going down. 2 brains, 1 controller making an unforced error. Knocked, being taken out here in the late game. Luckily for 2 brains, 1 controller though. They still have a 2-man. They've got their Watson, they've got their Crypto, and they have a sliver of this building in. It's going to be over. They can try and play the position basically out on the veranda, out in the supply bin, but still losing the Wraith is so bad right now.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to lose the Wraith, especially, you know, at this close to the end of the game. It's something that was just a mistake, you know, and that just, he fell off. He had no idea he was there. Hakulo was just sitting there. he peaked and he's like, oh God, somebody's here. Hakulo, obviously with the massive, being able to lay down the 2 massive shots and was able to pick him up. I think Hakulo is doing a great job here of ratting as well. He does have the team above him, and then of course the team to his southwest does have the Bloodhound, so he does keep getting scanned. However, I think he's in a position right now to where he really can't get shot, because if they do peek, Nocturnal will be there to take him out.
Tech goes for the peek himself, and you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, what the hell am I doing here? Hakulo was able to pick up 2 kills here, and now he survived to the top 6. Does get spotted out, but here comes the zone in. He will have the Q as he's getting focus fire down now. He will pop 1 more bat. Scans coming out from every which way as he's slowly creeping up with the ring, and he is in underneath this building right now. Secures top 5 for himself. I believe that's going to be 4 placement points now going over to the squad. CLG now losing out on POW. It's all up to Madness to try and survive on that Wraith as well. 5 squads remaining, 12 players remaining, as Madness will go ahead and stick that res onto POW. Luckily for him, of course, no team really able to pressure him, as we're in this odd stalemate position.
And Hakulo's in a good position as well. Hakulo has cover from the top, from the bottom, and from his left, where CLG currently is. So he is in an advantageous position, and he might be able to make the other teams kind of start fighting each other here. He is taking some shots, but he is playing the... Oh, I'm sorry. He did just get taken down by Rambo, so I retract my statement. Hakulo is definitely not in a good spot, and he's getting taken down. It looks like Liquid might be able to be in the best spot for this. 3 up, and now laying down shots to the people that are sitting there behind the crates there, which I believe is CLG. And of course, you still have a full team that is below them as well. I say that they continue to hold the high ground here. If anything, they go to, if they rotate off the roof, go to where Hakulo died. They're going to have that wall, and they're going to have that angle to work with each other, as long as this team right here, MPL, rotates out before the zone actually pushes them off the top of the roof.
Yeah, the ring is pulling away from both buildings now, and so everyone will have to basically just jump in. We're going to see a lot of Gibraltar domes going down. We'll see who can hold on to the defensive bombardment for as long as possible here. Early port being set up by Nocturnal into the zone for now. He will back up. He's got that gold armor, so he'll be able to heal that up extremely quickly here, only needing to pop that 1 cell for himself. And so we've got the full 3-man for Team Liquid, the full 3-man just below them as well. I believe Tech is still playing as a solo, and CLG currently as a duo. And actually, the math doesn't quite add up there, but anyhow, let's go ahead and take a look at this fight. The defensive bombardments have gone down along with the dome of protection. It's going to be NPL getting that first knock onto Rice Krispies. Caustic Warlord dropping as Flanker will go down as well. Liquid need Albraleli to survive for as long as possible. He gets them at least the top 3 here. Rice Krispies trying their best to portal hop for now, but it's going to be NPL in the mad scramble of the late game to take the win.
And that's just one of those games right there where you see basically everybody just collapses on each other. The circle, the zone is right out in the open, right out in the middle. So of course you have the 2 Wraiths that are trying to set up their pre-portals. They put them directly in the center of where the zone is going to collapse. They're trying to use them to their advantage. But of course you have the defensive bombardment come out. You have bubbles coming out. You have the zone. I mean, just the visuals themselves, it's so hard to see. And it's crazy to see how good these guys are and how they can kind of keep track of where their opponents are, and being able to lay down the shots that they need to lay down. But well played by NBL. Congrats on taking game 2.
Yeah, and importantly, of course, a lot of the teams that we saw on the top of the leaderboard after game number 1, a little bit absent there. And so we might have a shakeup on the leaderboard. We're going to go ahead and take a break while we calculate those results. And when we get back, we'll update you on that. And we'll have game number 3. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Why play to your limits when you can break them? Unleash what's next.
To make the ultimate gaming mouse, it needs speed and stability. It needs to be precise and instinctive. It needs to be light, but strong. It needs to be reliable and swift. It needs to last. It needs to be ready. It needs a name.
Welcome back, guys, to Series E. Jamerson here, joined, of course, by KP5, as we're getting ready to head into game number 3 for Pro Nights. But let's take a look at the leaderboard just before we do that, as it looks like Team NPL were able to take the top spots. ROCKSTAR now trailing by 3 points at 23, and Team RAZER have bounced back as well now here in the 3rd and 4th place positions. Sentinels were only able to put up 4 points in that last game, and it looks like TSM, who are also within striking distance of first, heading into game number 2, were only able to pick up 2 points as well. So we're seeing a huge shakeup in the leaderboards now.
Yeah, TSM dropped multiple positions. They were in 2nd, dropped down to 9th. Of course, NPL coming in with the 1st place in game number 2. And obviously with a bunch of KP able to secure a 1st place. Crazy to see TSM drop from 2nd to 9th in one game. And that just goes to show you how crazy this format can be, and how easy it could be to lose your position, or how easy it could potentially be to gain a much higher position on the leaderboard.
That's right. And with a shorter format, right, with only 6 games, you have very little time to really make an impact here. But we also know that a lot of these teams can pop off with an amazing, like 27, 29 point game. And we'll see if anyone can do that today. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It's still quite early, fairly early. We have 4 more games to play it out, but teams need to start picking it up. Nestle Pure Life is definitely one of those squads who have picked it up for themselves, taking that big W in that last game. Very impressive performance coming out from them.
Looks like, here you go. You got Draco's, my twin brother, up here on the screen, looking as handsome as ever.
I honestly was wondering if they just photoshopped you right on in there. You guys have almost very similar. Like, your chops are a little bit higher, and that's about it. That's the only distinguishing feature there. As MPL, they are playing with a fill-in today. It's going to be Rambo taking the Wraith position. But here's the drop over at Dome as, ooh, that is a nice box to pick up. You can see that purple armor as well. And so he'll have more loot to pick up as he continues on. Nestle Pure Life, a squad that has been really, really improving, I think, over the months, over the weeks. We have to hold that thought. It's 3rd impact again, and getting into that fight on drop with Team Pop-Tarts. They'll give up a lot of epicenter here, as it's Team Cheez-It actually. Strictly, it looks like, got a little bit greedy on the loot for himself here, as they have been able to get Refinery largely uncontested. Strictly even venturing out to the boxes here on the hill, hits with that Sentinel and wants to change up the angle. Hambino is here as well for the follow-up.
And that's one of the things too. You got Strictly with the Sentinel sitting up top right now, hitting the shots. This early in the game, you really can't afford to be taking that much damage. So Strictly could potentially put his team in an advantageous position to potentially get a knock, utilize the high ground, and then potentially collapse on the team in order to take him out, secure the KP, and then of course, obviously, removing or should I say, killing off the 1st squad. You got Balin, and Zeki again. You got the dynamic duo with Jazz for 3rd impact. Looks like they're healing up. Looks like they were the ones that were possibly getting shots taken out of them. And then Pop-Tarts with the Flatline, which I think Flatline is one of the most underrated and underutilized guns right now. The Flatline just absolutely melts, especially if you can hit your shots. Now, it does fire a little bit slower than, you know, your 301 or your R99, but the amount of damage that those heavy bullets lay down are insane.
Yeah, the stopping power of it, and we don't typically see a 2-4 on it, but you work with what you're given, and Fat Brew Ninja is definitely putting in work with that. TSM are trying to come in with this 3rd party on the northeast side, but we saw that it was really just a standoff between these 3 teams, Pop-Tarts, Cheez-Its, and 3rd Impact. 3rd Impact, who have already fallen back over towards Survey now. TSM, though, it looks like they were not able to get a knock and were not able to find an opening, and so they're going to continue to move on in with this zone. We now do have finally a northern zone here, as it looks like they've gotten information for us. Might be a train ending here, or actually just a countdown ending. A lot of Skyhook in as well.
Yeah, and TSM making the good play after a not so good game 2. Hal's gonna make the call, tell him to pull off. And one thing that I love about TSM too, as I was kind of talking to you about Snipe Down, I've been watching him since the Halo 3 days. been watching him for years. Snipe Down, an absolute insane player. It's really cool to see how Snipe Down's ability to be able to listen or IGL goes into play with How. Obviously, now you have CLG jumping in. CLG is now in a 1v2, I believe. He's going to... Vaxxon's going to get the res. And it looks like CLG is going to have to quick reset here in order to continue this fight on.
Yeah, Madness.
Vaxxon.
Unfortunately, Vax does get cracked here. He tries to swing back. Madness was able to get an armor swap for himself, I believe. And so they're sitting at about the same HP, but it's another fight going on with Team RAZER here on the southeast side, as looks like they were trying to stop the rotation of quite possibly ROCKSTAR, and they do when they get that team fight win. Here's TSM. They made their move. You saw them pulling them out. And they're already in Skyhook. It's all up to Vaxxon once again, but yeah, he falls and TSM take the win.
Yeah, and that's a clutch win right there for TSM too. They needed that. Like I said, after not having a good second game, they're gonna have to perform well here on game 3. They're gonna have to rack up the KP, and they're gonna have to make sure that they focus on positioning, so that way they can get a good placement within this game as well. So like I said, good move for them to pull off. They pulled off and ended up running into a fight, but of course we're able to come out on top. They're going to be able to reset. They're going to be able to get some good loot here, and of course now they do have positioning for the safe zone.
Yeah, so they can continue to play this north zone if they want to. They know that a lot of teams were in that area, right? As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 squads, for whatever reason, making a beeline over to Refinery. Okay, but as we join on with it, they have made their way up from Harvester, taking some cursory loot, whatever has been left over by Cooler over here at Lava Fissure, as it looks like they will have this entire side of the zone to themselves currently. Very odd about the movement that's going on right now. Cheez-It was able to get a knock over there, so some fighting taking place, but it's Team Intel that we're currently looking at, trying to make some decisions. They do have, I believe that might be 2 brains, 1 controller set up, of course, in position what they might consider center zone. It's Third Impact taking this fight over by Refinery right now, as Cheez-Its have lost out on nades here, as Ziki just juking and jiving through the Gibraltar ultimate here, but he does take some damage from a nade. Jazz himself might have been over peeking there, and ROCKSTAR to cover that door. They still haven't been able to get the res, as Hambino tries to go for the peek. He gets popped by the Mastiff, and that's going to be Third Impact taking the fight. They have to reset quickly, though, because we know how many teams are in the area, and Jazz instantly takes to the roof to cover for his squad. It's coming from behind, though. It's Pop-Tarts now going for round 2 up against Third Impact. But they are completely split up. Blight taking a lot of damage as he's trying to reconnect with his team. It's the third team involved in this fight, but Blight is able to make it into safety here. Pop that Phoenix kit, but it looks like Pop-Tarts don't want any part of this fight anymore, as Lucas is telling them to back off. Team RAZER, though, in a fight up against Sentinels over here at Geyser, as RAZER's Mercy only is trying to heal up. The zone damage is going to play a critical role in this fight for now, but he's got the med kit popping along with Zero Tricky. Very vulnerable, but Sentinels haven't pushed quite yet. They're going for that res first, as we do have Sentinels now starting to make that aggressive play. Here comes the scan on out. Bloodhound scan comes in, but the full reset has come out from RAZER. They still need Retzi to pop that Phoenix kit, but it looks like they want to continue to stay aggressive here. RAZER haven't been able to heal up their armors quite yet, popping cell by cell, taking a lot of damage from the storm for now. Hakulo been thirsted off, and that's going to be Team RAZER getting cleaned up. Sentinels take this fight.
And see, that's a good call by Sentinels too. They had them so weak in the zone. They don't want them out of the zone. They want to be able to get the KP, and they want to be able to get the loot. Obviously, RAZER sitting in the zone and trying to heal, but Sentinel's making a good job collapsing. Good call to be aggressive there and get the loot. And then they got to hightail it out of there because of all the shots. There might be another team there trying to contest and hold them from coming into the safe zone. So sticky situation, but I believe it was the right call there. And of course, you have a TSM now taking out Stink. And it looks like Mr. Eric Rona himself is hunting here in the cave. However, he might be pulling off just a little bit, as it looked like he may have gotten called back from Hal. Now he's going to be sitting in the center here, and he's going to pop. Oh, he was trying to pop the Phoenix. Gonna get the scan out, and now he's gonna go for the Phoenix pops here. And I think once this Phoenix pops, he's gonna start making his way back. He's got that nade that's gonna do some damage to him. Luckily, not much damage here. And now he's gonna lay down the Hemlock shots.
With that Hemlock taking out Nasky, Cooler try to come in for the third party. The TSM recovering quite well there. They do get the knock onto Yuki, and there is the bubble for reps, allowing them to fully recover. But no, it's Pringles now double backing around onto TSM, making them the sandwich, and they do take out TSM early once again. Team Pringles punishing them after losing Stink early on. But again, Yuki and Cooler and company now will continue the push. Never mind, it's Pop-Tart. So many teams getting involved in this fight for now. Fat Fruit Ninja will throw down that bubble for that armor swap. Goes on over to that blue, and they just pick up all of this loot for free while also taking out TSM. And so now we're down to 13 squads remaining. Here comes out the scan. They see that it's a 2-man ahead of them. With the nades out, Pringles start to back away. They have to be careful. Surprisingly enough, they're actually running with the Loba to pick up the loot now. They don't actually get to see her fairly often.
And this is one of these areas of the map too that you do not want to get caught in. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now, you know, because you have two teams that can be in the center and you can have a team on each side that's pinching. It's just an area that you want to get out of as soon as you can. You don't ever really want to truly fight in here, because if you end up getting caught just like TSM did, you're not going to really have many options when it comes to trying to escape or get out of the area. Hundreds is playing it tight though. He's holding down this angle. He's going to use this box for a head glitch to kind of just hold these guys back from rotating in on his team. Obviously, they are only 2 up with Stink TV being, you know, fully eliminated, and it looks like Hundreds is now going to start making his venture backwards. And him and Toad look like they want to try to kind of gatekeep this this cave here.
Yeah, they have a lot of options. They don't have to commit to this cave, but they definitely want some of the loot there. They've had to expend a lot. Most of their throwables were used in that last fight. A lot of their meds as well. They need to pick up the ammo, and so that's free for them, along with whatever else they decide to pick out at this point. They have plenty of time to work with. They have a lot of rotation paths that they can take right now, but it's Third Impact actually lurking over here just to their southeast. As you can see, they are now peeking out. The nades come on in. We're joining on board with Solifide, though, who are getting into a fight here on the northern side of the zone for now. Gentrifying taking a lot of damage. That's going to be Nocturnal with a G7 scout to take him out. And they don't have the bubble for the fast res. They do have the knock shield that Designful is going to use, but the Ordnance continues to rain in on them, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to recover. Resulta, as Gentrifying is praying to be able to get this Phoenix hit off. He will. Now, it's surprising that Liquid haven't fully gotten aggressive off of this, playing this a little bit more passively, but here it is now. The push coming out from Liquid along with Abrolele here, as they'll throw down that defensive bombardment. Want to secure that kill. It's going to be Nocturnal once again with that G7 scout to get that, and they'll go ahead and pop back up to the God spot for now.
And, you know, in this position here, it's a smart play to focus more on the actual position than it is to get super aggressive. Yes, they got the knock. They had the advantageous position. However, you want to make sure that you maintain position, especially in a lobby of this magnitude when it comes to skill level. And obviously going up against a pretty sellers team, aim assist, or better known as Solifide. So they played it right and they pulled off, and it looks like they're just going to go ahead and set up and get ready for the next battle.
Ooh, Balon forced the bubble out there, as it looks like a lot of teams collapsing here on the southeast side. We had Third Impact and I believe Sentinels below them. And just beforehand, we knew that Pop-Tart's playing as that 2-man. We're outside in the cave. We don't know what happened in that fight, as we did swap off. There it is. As you can see on the kill feed now, Solifide in a world of trouble. Resulta and Designful gone. They've only got the one left for themselves. I believe Gentrifying the only surviving member. It's Third Impact just deciding to loop very far to the south here as there are too many teams to commit to, and their time constraint for the rotation was running out. Team Liquid dropping back down onto the low with Gentrifying still alive, is able to get one kill, a second kill onto Senpai, and now he is left. It looks like they were able to res Resulta back up into this, surprisingly enough. So good stabilization coming out from Solafide, able to use that res over at Lava Fissure. So Solafide are still in this, and they are standing strong.
Yeah, Gentrify making an absolute beast play there too by being able to stay alive, getting the res, and then taking out and getting the KP there, and then obviously being able to get design full up. Huge, monstrous play that they needed there, because Solafide does need to start catching on with some KP and some placement points here. Well played. I mean, that's one of those positions where you got to clutch up. You feel it. He does it, and he threw down and did exactly what he needed to do. Was a great team player and laid down some massive shots.
Intel on the other side of this fight with Team Liquid. You saw the EMP being committed by Tempest here, along with that Nox gas grenade, trying to take away along with the Thermite. A lot of zoning potential as Third Impact find themselves in a fight. Here on the south side, it's 303 trading away with them as Ziki is able to take out legit Lolly, and now they're going to go for that the fast res here. A lot of fighting still taking place here. Luckily for them, they've got 2 minutes to recover. As now Team Intel are trying to just have a stranglehold over the north side of the zone, handing off that Phoenix kit to Hill as he does need to heal up. They expended a lot of utility in trying to zone out Team Liquid early on, and so it's going to be difficult for this next push. We'll see if he gets another Nox gas grenade or another EMP, as there are still a lot of teams in the area. Just to the southwest of them, they have Solafide. Here to the northwest of them is Team Liquid Hill, keeping an eye on his barrel to pop that, to stop and slow down any pushes coming from that area. As you can see, they have the gatekeeping position. Here comes the air burst. Panders tried to get the kidnap, and he does onto Nocturnal. Beautiful play coming out from Panders, who is of course filling in for Teen now, and that's Panders getting aggressive. Mastiff out, gets the knock on to Albert Laley, and Liquid get cleaned up by Team Intel.
Intel just came in there. Pandas just freaking let them have it. Amazing play by Pandas. Great kidnap, great damage, and really just took control of that fight right off the rip. And that's exactly what you need to do in lobbies like this. And having him fill in for Teen is huge for him to be able to, work and be cohesive with this team. I'm not sure how much experience they have together, but well played by all of them there.
Oh boy, Team Intel though instantly got third-partied by Solafide, and Solafide bouncing right on back. As now we are down to the top 10. Applejack's in a fight though over here, as they already got the knock. It's LG's Rugby to fall, but Ronnie has answered back. And it's gonna be the 2v1, but Lion with the Massive brings it down to a 1v1. Gets the thirst for the armor swap onto the purple now, covering the door. Once again, has to watch his north though. Goes for the peak with the Massive, does not connect now. Really tense situation as he's trying to advance now, pushing up, gets rid of that arm shield, pushes forward now, getting rid of Rugby there. He'll have another armor swap, will go ahead and push forward off of that and finishes off Stanny, but now he has to be worried about the third party. Drops down that generator and instantly hits that res, will stick it to get Clane back into the fight.
And it looks like Clane's gonna jump right over to the red box there and potentially pick up a red Evo shield as well. He needs that armor swap, but well played, and just it just goes to show how crazy and how clutch that Massive can be in those 1v1 situations. He was able to take out the full 100 plus shield on the knockdown shield, and then obviously was able to kill him to get that armor swap to give himself the advantageous spot, with that wide peak. And these guys, how quick they do the armor swaps too. I mean, he within a half a second, bang bang boom, has it, able to push out and be aggressive. Well played, and great Massive shots there. Pop Tarts is sitting here setting up, looking like they have some people marked. He's gonna get hit by the EMP here, and Lucas is gonna pull off a little bit. Blight's also gonna be healing up. It looks like they really want to take this fight here. They're gonna kind of be forced as the team is rotating in. Lucas gets absolutely demolished. Lucas has got to jump in the bubble, lays down a beautiful Massive shot, 78 flesh to the body. Lucas doesn't care. He's not going to heal up. He's going to be aggressive here and not least Blight in a 1v2 situation. Blight also getting pinged from the left-hand side. And it looks like Solafide wanted to get aggressive on there. Solafide's in a position to hold them. This is the only rotate route that they have available. Navi's gonna have to heal up to the max, and they're gonna have to hope that they can lay down damage on Solafide that's sitting up top, because if not, they're not gonna be able to go anywhere else, and they're gonna be pinged just sitting out in the open trying to rotate into the safe zone.
And unfortunately for Na'Vi, they used the portal throughout that fight, and so they won't have it for this rotation. As you can see, 22% on that cooldown. Mobile respawn beacon used as well, so that's coming up clutch. But will he have time to actually come down, pick up his loot, and start moving? And Ultimate Excel comes out for Nesh. Does he have a second one? This portal is going to be crucial for their movement, and it looks like he does. And so he'll be able to set that up for his squad. Still, though, they are not out of danger yet. They have a full Solafide squad in front of them, and they are already holding the angle. Nesh taking damage, forced into that queue for now. As you can see, Solafide dropping down as well. The movement comes out for Nesh here as he gets behind them. But again, the zone just pressuring them is just too much. Na'Vi get absolutely wiped out by them. Designful, though, with almost no HP, will go down. And here comes the fast res, but it's still in the zone. He might get re-knocked by the zone damage. Actually survives for now. It's Applejack's here, contesting Solafide, not actually trying to get aggressive off this, surprisingly enough, even though they knew they had the knock. Throwing in some nades to try to find anything, but it is not connecting for them, unfortunately. It looked like maybe some of their nades got eaten up. Applejacks, though, they're happy with this high ground position as Lion will re-peek on out. It's full 4 squads remaining as well. The Ultimate Excel will be dropped down by Lion, as looks like Kenny might be the recipient of that one. No, Lion will pick that right back up. He already has, of course, his ultimate to drop down, but he might have to actually commit that soon, as Kenny has taken so much damage. They're having a difficult time trying to find a safe angle. Gentrifying gets the knock onto Kenny. This is not a Gibraltar squad, and so the reses are going to be extremely dangerous. As you can see, the peek out coming from Solafide on their left. Kenny has not been recovered yet, and Klain is trying his best to survive. He's going to pop that Q to fall on back. He's a small angle to work with as he pops that back for now. Kenny barely surviving, making it behind cover.
Yeah, that's a great play to pull off. Obviously, we got charge rifle shots coming in and laying shots into them, and they have Solafide to the left, with Solafide doing what they do best, just playing super aggressive, not giving them any chance to breathe. And you have Solafide that's now trying to rotate up. 2 brains, 1 controller, trying to lay down shots on them. 2 brains, 1 controller might be able to help kind of slow them down, to allow Kenny and his team to get to kind of reset. Obviously, Solafide coming in with the bubble. Bubble gets knocked out real quick, and it looks like Kenny and his squad are now going to be aggressed by 2 brains, 1 controller, and they are just going to collapse on him here, and they're going to absolutely demolish him and take him out. Great play by the team. Good call here.
One left squad, it's third impact, trying to make their push on up, and this was relatively a clean fight for 2 brains, 1 controller just beforehand, so the third party just did not work out for third impact. It's 2 brains, 1 controller, with their excellent use of utility to close that one out, taking game number 3.
And that just goes to show you there, they had a little bit of patience. They held off. They didn't get super aggressive, even though that they realized there was knocks. They played it perfectly. They waited for their time. As soon as Solafide kind of started pushing in, they were able to load shots into them, made Solafide drop, and then they were able to push on Kenny's team there. And like I said, they pushed together as one unit and were able to take him out nice and clean and quick. We're able to turn around, take out the other team, and win the game.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, we had a different assortment of late game teams as well going into this final game, or into this third game, and so the leaderboards are going to be absolutely shaken up. You'll have to wait, though. This is the halfway mark of the evening, so we're going to take an extended break. When we get back, it'll be the final 3 games of the night. So go ahead and stretch out your legs. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to Series E, and thank you for sticking with us after that extended break. It was halftime, and now we are getting ready for our final 3 games of the evening. We've had 3 drastically different results, and so I'm very excited. Excuse me, to take a look at the leaderboard because again, it's anyone's game at this point. We haven't had consistent winners or consistent people making it to the late game. And so take a look at the points breakdown. After 3 games, no one's even broken 30 points. Nestle Pure Life, after winning game number 2, by the way, and having 26 points, we're only able to add on another 3 there. And they are still in first place, though, with 29 points. 2 Brains, 1 Controller, taking game number 3, have propelled themselves up. I believe they were like in 17th place or something with like 5 points. I don't know exactly, but here they are now sitting in the 2nd place position with 27 points. And Sola Fide now in 3rd with Third Impact and Rockstar nipping at their heels.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the progression that different teams are making. As you had mentioned, 2 Brains, 1 Controller being all the way down at like 17th place or whatever it was and jumping up to 2nd place. This week, from what I'm seeing, you don't have the same teams that are consistently, in the end zone. Everyone's getting mixed up. The zones aren't acting the way that they did last week when I was casting with you, where you had 4 or 5 in a row on the Northeast sector. Zones are moving around a little bit more centralized for the most part from what we've seen since like the last 2 games at least. But yeah, MPL only able to make a few extra points out of that game, and they are barely hanging on to the lead.
Yep, and Team Rockstar is one of the teams that we were looking at. They had a great start, but again, it's about consistency and being able to put on back-to-back performances, and we're not seeing that out of any squad right now. As it looks like we have an early fight. Team Pringles taking on Cooler down here on the hot zone, as it's Dell who's currently getting rezzed up. And oh boy, big shots coming down now. It's all up to Stink on this Gibraltar. He does have the Dome of Protection as he gets cracked now, and he will fall. Cooler take the fight. That's what I'm talking about. Cooler constantly shaking things up, moving from position to position, as it looks like CLG just finished up a fight up against Team Rice Krispies as well, taking them out. And 2 Brains, 1 Controller lost out on Tech. Liquid able to win out on that fight. So this game number 4 off to an explosive start.
And that's one of the things you want, just talking about. You have 2 Brains, 1 Controller taking down game 3, and then off the rip already in a pinch where they're fighting, and like you said, losing somebody where it can shake up the rankings. You have Third Impact coming in here now, currently trying to hunt down the looks like Pop-Tarts look like they're hunting down. Pop-Tarts is especially Blight in a sticky situation where he's got to heal up, and it looks like he has no shield and he has no heals currently right now. Blight's just going to take off and try to get himself to some sort of safety. He does have the pods down here where he can loot up, potentially get some shields or heals, and that's something that's going to be absolutely essential right now. So we'll see if Pop-Tarts is able to kind of get out of this sticky situation that they're in. I'm sure they'll be able to do it, as they have created enough distance from the foe team that has been applying the pressure on them. And it looks like they're going to head southeast here to these buildings, as I do not believe that they are currently contested.
The scariest part for Pop-Tarts right now is the simple fact that this timing, 1 minute and 20 seconds before the zone starts closing, means that the Overlook team is starting to move, that TSM is looking to make a move, and with all the noise that Third Impact is making, that's going to draw TSM on over. And Cheez-It as well, we have to understand, are coming in from Refinery. So they'll be in the area very shortly. So Pop-Tarts aren't out of trouble yet. You can see that bubble being used by them as well as they try to get into that train tunnel. Third Impact want to cut them off at the pass, though, and they start moving on over to that manhole right above them at the triple stack. The scan comes out as Third Impact themselves, they have to be wary about another squad here, and it might just be another squad. That might be, I believe, 303 who ended up taking on Overlook. Third Impact understand this, that they understand that it is another team. They give up the hunt, and they will back away.
Yeah, 303 is, I think, definitely in the position too. Like you said, they're holding them, and Third Impact's trying to move in, and 303 says, no, this is our position, and this is one of the things that's really important in battle royales. Is if you have a position that's going to be dominant in the current setting of the game, you want to make sure that you completely control your position, because position is absolutely key. And 303 doing an absolute amazing job locking down their position, scaring off Third Impact, and then course, we still have Pop-Tarts, which I believe is below that train tunnel still as well. I'm pretty sure 303 is aware of it, but they do have to be leery, make sure that they don't get pinched in between Pop-Tarts and Third Impact if they do continue to aggress. It looks like Sentinels is taking down Nasky. Yeah, Cooler's kind of in a sticky situation.
This is where, you know, when you have the cross-regional play, right? EU versus NA going on, that maybe sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect in the kind of information that you have about teams' timings and rotations out. Moving through at this time up against Sentinels, who, of course, play over here at Sorting Factory, you are bound to run into them, and that's exactly what happened. Cooler caught out there, getting greedy, trying to cut through and take a shortcut. They get absolutely punished off of that, as it looks like Team Cheez-It tried to make a move on Third Impact, and they got taken out.
And Cooler's in this sticky situation right now. Dell's got to make his way over and try to pick up the res and hopefully pick up the banner as well. I believe he has not picked it up yet, so he's got to kind of rat it out. He's got to play slow. He's got to play smart, and he's got to be careful with Sentinels, because Sentinels then they seem to be territorial. And, you know, Sorting Factory is their spot, and they will hold it down by all means, at all costs.
Pop-Tarts reverse basically the situation they were up against. Cheez-It got into a fight with Third Impact. Third Impact won that. And then Pop-Tarts came in for the third party and cleaned them up. But here's 303. That was that ever-looming threat from beforehand. But oh boy, 303 have taken so much damage. Legit Lolly dropped down to about 30 HP. Scissors has no armor to work with as he's desperately trying to get this Phoenix Kid off, but he has been tagged. Defensive bombardment has gone down. That might be the opening for Scissors to get on out of there, but he's waiting for this defensive bombardment. He does have the grapple out and he will be able to swing, but that was not a long one at all. Just some distance made here as he's trying his best to keep out of LOS of Team Pop-Tarts as he finishes off this Phoenix Kit. Lucas has gone down throughout all of it, and 303 now have the man advantage. They have a huge HP advantage as well, as Fat Fruit Ninja has been dropped down. Here comes the swing in from Scissors right into the bubble here, but he is taking shots up. Now it's the full three-man push out from 303 as Fat Fruit Ninja will be able to take out one, but they still have the numbers advantage. 303 swinging in from both sides, and they will finish off the fight as their instant bubble for the res and the armor swaps now as 303 secure these kill points.
You know, Fat Fruit Ninja was really put on for his team right there too. He had some massive shots which he needed to lay down, and he was playing it really well. But 303 just swamped him and ended up sandwiching him behind that train cart there. But I would still say well played by Fat Fruit Ninja, a very consistent player that I've seen over the weeks that I've been watching. You know, the Series E and watching him play. He's an animal. He really is a really good player. Love watching him.
Applejacks versus Na'Vi, but the third party of TSM is here. You can see Kenny getting that thirst onto Claws. Max Strafey out as well. TSM holding on to that train platform. They think this circle might end there. They hold that position for now. Snipe down coming in with that Beast of the Hunt, but here's an EMP. Don't know exactly which team is coming in for this fourth party. Might be 2 brains, 1 controller. As TSM are trying to back away. Imperial Hal already having set up this port for that aggressive play. They will be able to get out of this safely here. And so TSM survived the early game for now with 14 squads remaining. Unfortunately, I believe Team RAZER got into an early fight with, I want to say, ROCKSTAR. And they lost their Tricky on that. And so his respawn timer has timed out. So they'll be playing this game out as a duo for now. In that last fight, just before this, before we swapped on over, it looked like Solafide came in at the end there as well. So a lot of teams starting to make that positioning for that mid-game, late-game circle.
Yeah, Team RAZER kind of at a disadvantage. You don't want to be in this situation. Unfortunately, this is what they have to work with. They are now working on the rotate, obviously checking all angles and checking all areas other teams could push from. It looked like they were aiming up the hillside there. So it looks like Hakulo might be trying to set up here to potentially get some shots off anyone that might be rotating in on them. He obviously wants to keep them off because a fight is really what they don't want right now. So he's trying to, prevent that. We're going to jump over on board with Intel right now. You have Tempest taking some shots. Tempest losing his shield. Tempest is getting ripped. He's able to get some cover. He's going to drop down the shield cell. Tempest is going to get taken out. Snipe Down is the one taking him out with the scout there. Snipe Down shots with the scout are just absolutely insane. Dude hits almost every shot. I mean, you give this guy a rifle on a controller. He's been doing it for 15 years. So that's somebody you do not want to have shooting at you when you're kind of out in the open there. So TSM kind of regrouping now. They're reset. They're able to take some shots off on. It looks like two different teams that they're popping shots off on. Takes off Intel, kills Tempest. So it's going to put Intel to a only 2 players left for them. And it looks like TSM is going to try to kind of play a little bit aggressively. But they're also going to start working into maintaining more of a central zone rotate potentially here. I know Hal is really wanting the team to do well this go round, as they have not been performing as well as we had expected them to perform. So they're going to be working their tails off this match to really try to solidify a great game and hopefully take the win down if they can.
Ultimately, Applejacks were able to survive that big push, but here's another one. The bubble has already dropped down on top of them. Kenny and Lion with almost no armor here. Lion picks up 2, though, on to Designful and Resulta. It's up to Gentrifying in a 1v2 now, but Kenny is able to get that armor swap. Lion's gone down. It's Imperial Hal to come in to pick that one up, and TSM are going in for round number 2 to take out Applejacks and possibly Sola Fide. There it is, a thirst onto Designful and onto Lion now. TSM understand they have the huge numbers advantage in this fight. They will push up. The EMP will be used by Kenny, but that was just a last-ditch effort to survive. TSM win this one out. They still have to worry, though. Sola Fide, they might have been able to recover. We'll see. TSM, though, are happy to pick up this loot, especially with how much poking that they've been able to do, but they haven't been able to recover anything quite yet. It's CLG, though, here on the northeast side with this team on the other side of Survey Camp right now, and unfortunately, this is not where the ring will be polling. We saw that from the information that it should be going over towards where TSM were playing beforehand, on to the train platform. And that's why TSM, we're playing conservatively over there. We're trying to not overextend, make sure that they maintained position, as it looks like we got a fight. 2 brains, 1 controller taking on LG. Rugby answers back. It's going to be a 2v2 now, but it's Tech dropping down with that Mastiff, forcing out the Q. Will go ahead and go for that insta-res onto Knock to get him back into the fight.
Yeah, Tech made a good play there by not chasing the Wraith. Obviously, the Wraith's going to queue out. Tech able to get his teammate up, which is the ultimate goal right now. You want to keep all 3 teammates alive. They're going to jump in this building, and they're going to go ahead and attempt to reset here, get the shield battery off. Tech's going to go ahead and heal up to full now, and they might try to go right back in and go for round 2 on this fight. Now you have Liquid sitting up here, and it looks like they're trying to maintain the top of this building. You have Nocturnal that's sitting back a little bit further, and then it looks like Flanker is now making his way towards Nocturnal, so it looks like they might actually be trying to take this wide left rotate and then work their way in, as there's no need for them to push into that area, as there are other teams there contesting the area and fighting, and Liquid is looking to solidify some sort of placement, as I'm not seeing many KP out of them right now. So Liquid's going to just kind of take their time, chill. One thing I did want to make note of, too, before we swapped off of TSM, I did notice Hal's setup. Hal was running the flatline and the R99, and that is an absolute monster setup for Hal with how aggressive he is and how consistent he is with his shots. I'd be really surprised to see Hal go out early with a setup like that.
Ooh, 2 brains, 1 controller, continuing their fight up against LG, and it looks like they were able to successfully corner them and take them out. Big fight going on over at Survey, though, as CLG have gotten the first knock, taking out Rambo. And we'll see if they continue off. It's Team ROCKSTAR, though. They were able to creep up from the south-hand side now, making their way all the way over to Epicenter. So this is kind of how they've been playing all night long. Really sticking to the slow side of the circle and making their rotations in with as little resistance as possible. And we saw that, of course, worked out for them in game number 1. They haven't been able to repeat it quite yet, but here in game number 4, they've at least hit top 10 now. But now they will have to contest up against a lot of teams. Take a look at that. Ring pulls away from that platform just a bit and starts going over to the recon beacon. recon beacon building now. Matt Pickett with a nice shot, taking out Gentrifying. That was the final member of Solo Fide. We are now down to our top 9 squads.
And ROCKSTAR, I think, really is playing it well. You know, we're touching base on that consistency. They're just trying to be consistent. Even if they're not getting a lot of KP, they are being consistent with placement, and they're trying to get the placement points. They're playing it well now. They're playing the long game. He's got the longbow and lay down a massive damage with that longbow, and quite honestly can just, you know, shield check, make him waste cells, make him waste heals. That way, later on in the game, that could work to their advantage. Now, it looks like they're just going to chill up here. They do have a sliver of this hill, this high ground that is going to be safe. So they don't really have to worry about moving too far right now. Only thing they really got to focus on is they do have a team to the northwest that they were shooting at. And it looks like they have actually migrated a little bit further to the west now. So it looks like they might actually end up getting into a fight. I'm not 100% sure. It wouldn't make sense for them to fight right now, as they do have the position. I think they're just going to continue taking the armor tags here and just trying to figure out, you know, get some information on who might be low, what shield levels are around them, and kind of find some sort of area to capitalize on.
Team RAZER were ultimately able to make their way all the way up to Skyhook here, but Hakulo does have to be careful. It's 2 brains, 1 controller, I have to imagine, still in the vicinity. And that is a team that can be extremely difficult to fight, even in the best of times when you have the full 3v3. Playing it out in a 2v3 without the utility, with having to contest up against an EMP, can be an extremely difficult task. Now, it's CLG still trying to fight their way out of Survey, as a lot of damage is coming on through. But unfortunately, just not quite enough. Their roof is contested, and they need to try and evict the squad now. But a wide peek out as they jump on over. It's Nestle Cure Life that was involved in this fight, and they've already lost out on 1. As we can actually see, NPL, they lose out on Dracos. He gets thirsted. Oh boy, Rambo getting pushed down as well. It's all up to Bambino, but CLG will be able to clean this one up, and relatively healthy, taking very little damage there, as Pau will be forced to bat, as someone else is in the area poking away at him for now. But CLG weather the storm, and they'll be able to continue to move on forward. It might be Team Liquid that we're trying to push them. But here it is, TSM in the center of the zone for now, as they were trying to take the roof, had a little bit of difficulty in that regard. Sentinels just to the south of them as well, with the defensive bombardment being used, but TSM still maintain control over the roof as Sentinels try to make their way in to the bottom of this building. They are here, but TSM are looking for any opening to drop on down. With that PK shot, though, TSM, they'll be forced back into the building, and these 2 teams will coexist for now.
Yeah, and now you have Hal sit inside. He did drop the flatline, so he's now going to be rocking the R9 and PK combo. And I've seen so many clips with Hal using the PK, even before it was a chest item and it was, or a drop item, and when it was actually on the ground. Hal loves the shotgun, and I've been competing and playing against Hal for many, many years. And the way that this kid knows how to utilize shotguns in games, it just makes you want to bash your keyboard sometimes, the shots and the flicks and his movement. And so I'm expecting Hal to pop up here and be really dangerous with this PK.
Here's 2 brains, 1 controller getting caught out by Team Liquid. Just a little bit slow on the rotate, as they had to clean up RAZER in their back, and they get absolutely punished for that. CLG, though, now making a move for this platform. They've already lost out on 1. Madness has gone down. Vax with that bubble, but unfortunately, we have Madness bleeding out, taking damage from the zone. They're getting pushed. It's Team ROCKSTAR here, as they have lost out on Matt Pickett. A lot of teams getting involved in this fight. Snipe Down actually getting finished off. It's TSM going down to Sentinels, as ROCKSTAR are able to clean up the eastern edge here. They have to retreat into the caravan to heal up. We're now down to our top 3 squads. ROCKSTAR, Sentinels, Team Liquid. They should be all full up. It should be a 3v3v3 in this late game circle, and the circle pulls away towards Team Liquid.
And I'm interested to see how Alvarelli plays with this PK. So we had 2 PKs that were on the map. It looks like they might actually get the PK off house. So there's going to be 2 PKs that are still going to be in play. And the PK late game with the charge is going to be one of those instances where you're just going to start seeing massive damage coming out. And I think to be able to control and get yourself to the end zone, or I'm sorry, to the end game is going to be the #1 priority right now, so they can utilize the actual weapons and equipment that they have.
Now, with just so much to work with, Liquid are sitting in such a pretty position. They're all the way on the north, fairly uncontested, as they're trying their best to maintain a good amount of that late game circle. You also saw that Alb had the not the orbital strike, excuse me, the defensive bombardment to use as well. We have Sentinels committing theirs already onto the team to their east, which is Team ROCKSTAR, now making their way on in. Zone is closing, applying so much pressure. Sentinels might have a sliver of this fence to work with for now, as Team ROCKSTAR are starting to make their way on in. They've got a lot of rock cover. The early bubble out as Team ROCKSTAR are trying to get aggressive onto Liquid. The defensive bubble and the defensive bombardment is used by Team Liquid. And so a lot of this utility, a lot of the ultimates just completely nullified for now. We have the 3-team standoff, and this is a fairly centralized one, as none of the teams really have priority on it, but it's Team Sentinels that have almost no cover. They've used their bubble, and now here come the nades out from Team ROCKSTAR. Surprised they have so much of this in the late game, but take a look at the trades coming out. It's Sentinels that take out Team Liquid, but ROCKSTAR are right on top of them to close this one out. Issue does go down, but here's the staying power of that PK. The worry that is in the eyes of ROCKSTAR. You can see how cautiously they're playing this for now as the armor swap comes out. Matt Pickett has gone down. It's all up to Crummy now left in a 1v1. He's got the massive, needs to reload it. Goes behind cover. He misses his first massive shot. The second one goes into the train, and he hits for the 39 onto the red. Sentinels clutch up and take the win. The ROCKSTAR were not able to close that one out, and that's what you're talking about. The fragging power of the PK, the equalizer in the late game.
Yeah, the PK just laying down absolute massive shots. Huge play by Sentinels. He took the high ground, was able to jump over, and then unfortunately missed both of his shots there at the end. Tagged him, only 39, was still red armor. Then in there, he knew he was done. Sentinels taking down game #4. Huge win. Greatly played. I honestly thought Liquid was going to hold them, and I thought that they were going to be in a disadvantageous position, kind of being stuck out there in the open and, using their util, using the bubble and things of the sort. So well played by Sentinels, and that just goes to show that PK is crazy on the end game.
Yep, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we'll have the leaderboards along with game #5 here at Series E, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Hey, shake it, kiddo. Love Dad. Oh.
I've got this. Kellogg's Rice Krispies Treats. A little love when it's needed.
It's Kellogg's, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Tiger Paws. They're Jumbo.
Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go. Cereal, magnified, showing up for snacking time. Jumbo snacks, snack time heroes. Go take them on the go.
It's Jumbo. It's for snacking. It's Jumbo Snacks.
Welcome back, guys, to Series E as we are getting ready for game number 5. And now we've had another team ending up winning in the late game here. And so, again, our leaderboard's absolutely shook up. So let's go ahead and take a look at those before we head into the game number 5. Sentinels are now in the first place position with 44 points. Team Rockstar there with 38, though. And 2 brains, 1 controller now in third place with 35. But with how inconsistent the end games have been coming out from our lobby so far, this is still within reach with 2 games remaining for the majority of our lobby, KP.
Yeah, and see, that just goes to show, I mean, Sentinels really popped off, had a huge game, able to take that first place position. Rockstar, as we were talking about a little bit earlier in that game number 4, or excuse me, game number 4, apologies. They had playing a little bit slower. Like you said, inching in with the zone as it moves in, taking their time. They're maintaining that consistency, maintaining the placement points, and they were able to pick up kills and get some KP at the end of the game there. Now, what I'm taking a look at is you have 5th, 6th, and 7th place all tied. You have Liquid right behind, just down 1 point from those 3 positions. And then 3rd Impact right behind with 27 points, 303 with 26. So between 5th and 10th place right now, you have just 1 or 2 point differential. And so I'm really interested to see how this game turns out and how the leaderboards might shift. But it's really interesting to see Sentinels. They just skyrocketed up there to the top.
Yeah, they had a absolutely massive game for themselves right there. I know that they picked up, I believe, a full 3-man earlier on. They were able to take out TSM in control of the beacon building in that last circle, excuse me. And then of course taking that win at the end. I don't know exactly what happened there for Sentinels to be able to absolutely just push into Liquid and wipe them out. I think one of the issues was Albalele or their Gibraltar ended up having to use the dome as Rockstar was swinging on them, and so they didn't have that defensive bubble to really use as Sentinels pushed in onto them, and Sentinels really leveraged that. Ultimately, though, Rockstar not able to finish that one out was surprisingly enough. They had the numbers advantage. It was a fast reset from Sentinels, but they knew there was the HP advantage for themselves. But unfortunately, so many PKs in play, we had a lot of big damage coming out from the Sentinels to close that one up. But like we said, a lot of teams within reach. We have 2 games to go. After 4, no teams have cracked that 50-point mark, which is surprisingly enough. Team RAZER, one of the teams where we're seeing, still chugging along. It's a lot of squads chugging along, adding on little points here or there across the games to keep themselves within a viable reach of trying to get into the top 2 positions tonight.
Yeah, and jumping into this game as well, I want to see how RAZER kind of plays it out. As we had realized earlier in the start of game number 4, Zeratricky had been taken out right away. Zeratricky being one of the, I would say, one of the most dominant players that I personally have watched in the last 2 weeks, casting with you. So seeing Zeratricky getting taken out that early was an interesting feat, and I want to see how RAZER kind of bounces back and jumps on it. Team
RAZER, once again over here at Geyser, as, oh boy, Hakulo has taken some early damage, but it's this never-ending fight. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks where Third Impact have just been fighting off the drop here up against Team Pop-Tarts or Team Cheez-Its. Hell, I think even Team Applejacks got involved in this as well at one point. But Third Impact have taken so much damage now. Zicky's the healthiest one so far, which is why he's going for that peek on the right. The R9 Volt, the double SMG. He lost out on Jazz, excuse me, as Zicky tries to get aggressive on that bubble. It's 2 down now. Ballon G with almost no HP to work with. As he swings around, doesn't have any armor, will go down. Pop-Tarts take that fight.
You know, one thing I've noticed too about Third Impact landing here at Epicenter the last like 2 or 3 games, they've really been kind of struggling off spawn here. I mean, they're getting ripped apart. Now, granted, last game we did see Pop-Tarts was the one that actually de-aggressed and had to move away and kind of retreat. But Third Impact trying to lock down Epicenter and just not having any luck with it at all. And it's frustrating, especially for a team like that, for a team that's that players that are that competitive. Landing, dying, dropping, it just tilts you. So hopefully they can kind of shake it off and get prepared to jump into game number 6 after this.
Yeah, so Pop-Tarts will be able to pick up a lot of this loot. Of course, they're keeping an eye on their east. They know that Cheez-It are always there over at Refinery, ready to get involved in the fight if they can. And so seeing Blight being vigilant now, keeping an eye on that ridgeline. TSM are making their move, and this is the timing that I'm talking about. A minute and 30 seconds, they're out of frag east. They're starting to make their move into the zone. They have the scan as well. If we can take a look at the map to see exactly where it is, that would be awesome. But more than likely, of course, it is just going to end here in Harvester. And this is one of the plays that TSM like to do. They hold this northeast snake, and they kind of use this as their setup. But I think they want to go ahead and venture further in for now. Hal is still lurking at the back of this, but typically here from Harvester, there we go. We get a better idea of what the circle is going to be. There's a small chance that it goes over to the east, but how TSM want to play this, of course, play inside the snake, try to poke away at teams that are rotating through the chokes to their northeast, and when they can, get aggressive with Hal's portal to take advantage of teams fighting. But it's NPL now. Oh boy. Cooler learned this lesson. You don't move through the Sentinel's stomping ground. You can see Dracos and Rambo taking a lot of damage. There is that first knock. Dracos going down. Rambo might be next to follow as Bambino is just going to get the hell out of Dodge. Rambo will stick around to at least pop a bat before he starts moving. Again, we know Sentinels like to stick around in their spot, loot up everything. So that's why you just cannot take that shortcut whatsoever. Here is TSM, though, getting aggressive onto, it looks like Team Intel. Beast of the Hunt being popped by either side. There might be an opportunity for Intel to get this res here if they can get Hill inside the building. We have an EMP coming out as well, and so a lot of threats relatively in the area for now, as a port is going to be used by Panders either to reconnect with the squad or just get them out of there, and it looks like they are just going to get out of there for now. Tempest will still hold the angles, but Panders now regrets this decision, getting poked from that train connector area, but he does have a small pocket to stay safe as he heals up.
Now, one thing you notice too is you have Intel that's kind of, they're keeping Tempest kind of behind that box. Okay, he's going to port over now. But basically, Tempest was kind of just playing that slow game, sitting behind that box. I believe TSM had thought that they had all ported out. So Tempest was just trying to play a little bit sneaky there. And, you know, if TSM did come near, be able to take a couple shots and then be able to pour it out, potentially maybe get a knock. But yeah, obviously now you see Tempest is regrouped with his team. They're going to have to figure out how to get out of this area, though, because they are in a pinch between TSM and that other team that was at the train connector. So they're going to have to start making their move and getting the heck out of Dodge.
Solafide were able to catch out Cooler throughout all of this. And here's Team Intel making their way into the northwest snake here. But defensive bombardment has been used by them as well. And surprising that they actually go for this for now, as it looks like Solafide as well are starting to hunt down the remnants of Cooler. Sir Dell has gone down, and so they've only got one more player remaining throughout all of this. But Intel have safely secured a spot in Harvester, and they weathered the storm. Scan out, they do have a team currently to their west, but they're happy just to be safe inside for the time being.
You know, one thing that I always find pretty interesting too is watching Solafide. I feel like we never really see them pull off of fights. I feel like, we watch TSM pull off fights. We see Intel pull off of fights. Sentinels making smart decisions, pulling off of fights. The controller boys, they say, nope, we're going full send, man. We're getting right in there. So it's always interesting to watch how aggressive Solifide plays. And it really, shows in their gameplay. They play really well together. And if they can get those aggro pushes, they can put themselves in good positions to pick up the KP and continue moving through the placements.
RAZER were somehow able to make it into Snake here. They've already got one knock on to Snipe down, but here is Zara Tricky to finish this one all out, and that is so surprising, very uncharacteristic coming out from TSM to be pushed upon here as the recovery is coming out from Team RAZER as it's Applejacks here on the northwest side. NPL losing 1 to Hundreds, Team Pringles on the other side. Oh boy, Lion just trying to stick to that door, but unfortunately, of course, there's not a wall that actually connects that door. So they're able to just peek on in. They've already lost out on 2. Team Intel, though, they're the squad that pushed up, and wow, we've got a lot of action going on in the kill feed. It looks like Sir Dell was recovered, and Matt Pickett has gone down, and Intel now have full control over the Northwest Snake. So a lot of action as Team ROCKSTAR have been taken out. This is one of the squads there up in the high in the leaderboards. Very unfortunate for them to go down this way.
Yeah, and talking about Intel and the position that they have right now, obviously they're going to jump into a fight. Currently, they're getting pushed, but this is a good area to hold down. They have a lot of loot. I'm sure that they have more loot that they can go back and grab from those boxes that they had originally killed. And if they can weather the storm here and continue to hold down this building, they might be able to have a chance to go pretty far in this game.
Team RAZER now making their attempt to actually push this building. Oh, no, wait. This was the squad that wiped TSM, on the northeast Snake here. And you can see looting up the bodies of TSM there. Team RAZER have a decent spot so far as Intel are just completely backing away. And this is fine, actually. I like this. Taking control of the ultimate high ground here is you might have another team in their sights in that train tunnel for now over at the mine pass. Of course, it is zone 2, so this team that is currently being gate kept don't have to commit to this angle. They can back away and maybe double back over towards Fragment West, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do, leaving the bread trails behind them of the caustic traps as well to slow down any team in pursuit of them. But no, it's an aggressive bubble forward. I want to see try their hand at this fight, but here's Panders on the front line going into the bubble as GS Bird has taken so much damage, but they're the ones that get the first knock. Stunny goes in for the swing on the right hand side, and now things have turned south as GS Bird is the only one alive. Panders really utilizing that high ground box, but it's Hill. Now that's the only one standing for his squad. He'll be able to climb on over and now jump in. The Phoenix kit gets canceled, and Hill will win out that fight, taking out Rice Krispies.
And it looks like Hill's giving a little love to his body bag there too. Let him know a couple 1-2. I don't really understand the push from Intel there. Like, that was truly unnecessary. And they got really lucky. Hill backed off. He played the time on the caustic traps and then was able to peek back out and get some shots to finish it up and res his teammates. Res Panders. Now they're going to have to go ahead and basically revive Tempest here. And they could put themselves in a sticky situation here, because if you have teams that are going to be rotating from that north, as we were discussing, we do have some teams that have been playing north all game. They might be in a really tough position. Granted, they do have 40 seconds to rotate back into the zone. So they're going to get the res off, and they're going to start making their way there back, with about 25 seconds or so. But really aggressive push by Intel. They really wanted the KP. They got a little bit of damage, but they full sent it in there, even though the caustic traps were there. So Intel got really lucky to get out of that one. But as always, well played by Hill to wait out that timing and jump on and save his teammates.
Yeah, we did see on the map, though, there's really only one team in the vicinity, surprisingly enough, and they were still over at Fragment West. If they hear the res, though, they might come charging in. We'll see in just a moment, so I'll want to recheck in with them. This is the position that we saw Team Intel in just beforehand, but Liquid are about to show off why it's extremely strong to be able to hold. This is the ultimate high ground, with really no one from Harvester being able to find an angle on you, as you can really abuse the headshot angles for now. But Liquid here, they might run into Intel shortly. As soon as they get him looted back on up. We'll see how far Liquid actually scout out behind them as well, which is actually a necessary thing to do. Right now, their full attention is being turned towards Harvester for now. There is Alb, of course, keeping an eye on the back. But again, I don't know if they have full information about where all the squads are. This is a very, very unorthodox, I think, kind of circle. But here it is. The pings come on out. They hit for the gold. And that Gibraltar is in the middle of nowhere there, as the defensive bombardment is going to be used reflexively and defensively. Now, Liquid Flanker, he will go ahead and pop out that Beast of the Hunt along with the scans, and Intel might have been able to make their way into the zone safely now, but here comes another scan from Flanker, sees that they are all in safely, and wow, Intel can count their lucky stars. They're able to make it in. Just Team Liquid, we're not keeping an eye on that angle, allowing them a free rotate into safety.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Liquid's obviously going to pull off that fight. Now they're going to start getting third partied here. Intel played it smart. They rotated in. They didn't take any shots. They're like, listen, we can't shoot at them. We just got to make our move in, and we're able to get to safety. Now we got Alb that is taking out Gentrifying from Solifide. Great shots by Alb coming out, and you have the defensive bombardment coming out, and it's going to take out Flanker. So now we're going to have Nocturnal and Alb together in I believe, a 2v2 situation right now. And it looks like, wow,
involved in this one right now. CLG were poking out. We had Intel as well, trying to find their timings. But Liquid are going to be able to recover Flanker for now and get back into this with that bubble. And here is Liquid pushing on in aggressively into this bubble. Solifide have been wiped out, but they have other teams still in the area. Quick looting out from Albalele here as they want to continue this, but take a look. Hill setting up the port for his squad as they might have a slight angle, and they get the knock onto Flanker. Here's Panders with a nice left-hand flank as they will continue to try to get aggressive. The bubble has been used, but we're talking about timings, the over-aggression. You have to be careful here. And so Intel will play this a little bit more passively. CLG dropping down now into the low, chasing after this lone member. It's the last member of Liquid as they get wiped up. And Intel now, they are the kings of the hills. They have the high ground, but this ring does pull away. It goes on over to the eastern side of Harvester. So Intel have to start considering their rotation, make their way back into Snake, and start now moving their way on up into the safe zone, which it looks like this hallway is in for them.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw on the kill feed, though, but I believe it was Tempest. I could be incorrect, or Hill. But one of the two, they just were granted kill leader with a total of 3 kills. So you have Panders, obviously, with 1, Hill or Tempest with 3 at least. And then I'm sure, I believe the other has at least 2. I know Hill did pick up 2 in the tunnel, so I think Hill is currently the kill leader. So they're securing some KP here. They did make a mistake by over-aggressive. They made a mistake by being over-aggressive. Tempest is the kill leader. They were able to get out and sneak by Liquid, and now they were able to retreat back into the Snake and set up for the push. Now, getting out of that area was smart because you don't want to be out in the open. They're getting third party on the hill. Now we're going to see Intel going back into the fight. Scans coming out, and of course you have Tempest here with the Hemlock being an absolute monster, tossing out the ROCKSTARs. And they're kind of playing it slow. And as you can see, they're starting to back off a little bit. They're going to swing out to the right. He does have the angle, and he has the door that he can use to his advantage to keep closing and healing up if he needs to. And CLG is, CLG Vaxlon's got to back off. He's super weak, so he's going to drop back and heal. And Intel Hill is going to get taken out. Panders is super weak. So now they're in a position where they might actually get taken out and lose their positioning here in the game. CLG being super aggressive, capitalizing on a disadvantageous position for them. And then, of course, you got LG that is in here playing super aggro as well, going in for the third party.
We do have the reset coming out from CLG. They committed into that with the defensive bombardment there, and Pal has turned it around. We're talking about massives and, not massives, Hemlocks in play, and again, that burst is just absolutely just incredible. CLG getting that first knock. We'll see if they can continue this push, but they're regarding the rotation as more important here. The port being used by Madness. They don't want to fight into a corridor, into a caustic. So they just completely back off for now. Baxon actually, never mind, getting aggressive, goes in with that Mastiff, playing around the bubble, hits for the 66, and he's got the rest of his squad there, backing him up, and they can go ahead and pick up all of the loot. It's Pow and Vax and Madness who have been picking up kill after kill, and Vaxon is now the kill leader with 5. CLG rebounding after a slow start in the first 4 games. Here's Pop-Tarts, though, making their move with a team in front of them just south of Fragment West. Pop-Tarts have lost Fat Fruit Ninja, but Blight will go ahead and push up. It's Cheez-It that were in their way, and Hambino now has been dropped low as Blight will be able to take out Strictly here, bring it down to a 2v2. Blight goes down now to 1v2, but Hambino is effectively out of the fight. Nade doing a good job of kiting around this rock with that Mastiff, waits for the arm shield, goes for the repeat, and picks up the kill. Cheez-It went out in this fight, and now we are down to 9 squads remaining.
Nades did a great job there playing passively, kind of like you said, kiting around that rock, just kind of buying time for a Hambino to be able to heal up, and luckily was able to kind of pick him up and get the kill before really even needing Hambino. But that just goes to show you, even though you get them super weak, you don't have to be super duper aggressive. You can just sit there and kind of let them make the mistakes and be able to capitalize on their mistakes and take them out. Well played.
You see Na'Vi now slowly moving up with this Caustic as Claus is doing a good job of making sure as the ring closes that the back is relatively covered. He's got 1 barrel back there ready to pop. Instead, they're going to try and move further and further into the east. It's Team RAZER still here on the northeast side, but they have to worry. They have CLG now to their west, and CLG has just been mowing through the competition here somehow. And RAZER, remember, they took this spot away from TSM earlier on, and Sentinels find themselves in a not the greatest of positions. They have only 1 route for the rotate, and in their way is going to be Na'Vi. If Na'Vi catch on to the fact that Sentinels are on the other side of this, they can play real big spoiler here. But oh boy, that's a huge pickup. Pow getting the knock onto Hakulo. See if Team RAZER can stabilize on that one. It looks like Hakulo is still alive for now, not thirsted quite yet. CLG had turned their attention into the team that is currently inside Harvester right now. They drop down from the high ground. They have to be careful and play this a little bit more cautiously. They're not out of the woods yet. We're still in the top 6 squads. They've picked up a lot of kill points, and they want the matching placement points as well.
Definitely, and CLG is doing a great job of kind of just maintaining map control and consistency and pinging where all teams are. You know, they kind of are out in the open. They did drop down from the high ground, but other than that, I really feel like CLG is having an absolute amazing game currently right now. High kill game. If they can continue to control the game the way that they have been and potentially take the win here, this could be an absolutely massive game for CLG. And these boys deserve it. You know, like you said, they had a slower start in the first four games, but they're coming out and they're showing that they're here to play. And as a former CLG professional player, of course, I'm going to be rooting for the CLG boys because I just love that organization. So I really want to see them do well here and keep controlling this game like they have been.
Here is the rotation coming out from Sentinels, and we'll see if they run into any barrels on the other side. Retzi not taking any damage from it, any gas, so it looks like they were able to be safe there as the nades are coming into them, but they're able to move up. They've got the bubble for that allows them to quick reset. Zero Trigger getting a knock onto Na'Vi, and that was the squad that we saw, I believe, make that move on over to that east side. The port out, though, coming in from Nest to try and get them into safety, but oh my gosh, the fires continue to lay into them as 303 gets cleaned up by CLG. RAZER back off, back into the snake. They hold the inner position here, but it's Sentinels throughout that mad dash that do end up going down. CLG now, though, with a fight here right underneath the snake, as it's RAZER coming in for the third party, but Baxlon hits with a huge massive answered right on back from Hakulo, and he gets another knock with the help of Zera. Tricky, so CLG able to survive into the top 3 before getting taken out, but here's 2 brains, 1 controller. They should have the man advantage pushing forward. Hakulo abusing the stairwell, but their number advantage is just too big. 2 brains, 1 controller will take game number 5.
Wow. Hakulo popped off there at the end too. Two Brains, One Controller was there really quick for the third party to clean the game up and take the W. But Hakulo really just laying down the shots that he needed to try to secure some sort of fidelity for his team. So big shots by Hakulo. I want to give a big shout out. He really played that well. He was using, like you said, that stairwell to his advantage for the head peaks. But Two Brains, One Controller coming in, swamping on him, being aggressive like they are. And I believe that's the second win that Two Brains, One Controller has had this evening.
Big games for them. We are going to go ahead and take a short break. And when we get back, it'll be the final game of the evening here at Series E. You're not going to want to miss it. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Imagine you love frosting and filling.
I do love frosting and filling.
Oh, well, imagine if there was a way to enjoy that delicious goodness anywhere, anytime, out of the toaster, out of the box, out of one of those baggy thingies, with nothing but a thin layer of foil between you and...
Pasta.
Yes, Curtis. This is a commercial about pasta.
I love it.
Frosting and filling for your pasta.
I like pesto.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well. Some might say perfect. Who's ready to show 'em who's the cheesiest?
I woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach.
Cheez-It, official sponsor of the college football playoff.
Cheez-It snapped. How's it taste? It's so thin, crispy, and cheesy. And I just want to keep eating it. And eating it. They love them.
Snapped. So good we may run out of cheese.
Welcome back to Series E as we are getting ready to head into the final game of the evening, game number 6 here, and this one's going to decide it all. So much is on the line. We got $500 being split between first and second place. We've also got a lot of teams with a lot to prove here as we head into the weekend. We got a lot of things going on with the ALGS playoffs as well, but here it is. 2 Brains, 1 Controller tied up with Team Sentinels, but CLG throwing themselves in the mix now as they had a huge game. Weren't really able to take the win, but here they are now in the top 3 with 50 points. And we have a number of teams there in the middle of the pack, though, that are still within striking distance. If Two Brains, One Controller, Sentinels, and CLG don't have a great game number 6, any of these squads, all the way down to hell, even Third Impact, have an opportunity to try and steal away a win.
And see, that's exactly what I was kind of getting at too. Is it just goes to show that one game can really just drastically change the standings on the scoreboard. And basically, CLG, like I said, they did really control that game for as long as they possibly could. They did get taken out in 3rd place in that last game, but with the amount of kills that they had and the actual positioning points that they received, put themselves in third place and only 2 points behind 1st place. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Two Brains, One Controller can continue to hold on to this lead going into this 6th match and our final match of the evening. Two Brains, One Controller have been playing super aggressive, so they've been obviously collecting the KP, and of course with 2 wins, collecting just over 24 points just in 2 games of them winning. So I want to see if CLG can maybe control here. ROCKSTAR is probably going to start off and be a little bit slower again and try to, like I said, maintain that consistency. But we're going to go ahead and jump on board with Team RAZER. As we saw last game, Team RAZER was able to keep all 3 up. Zeratricky did not get taken out like he did originally in Game 4. And Team RAZER really put the smackdown on TSM last game. So Team RAZER is probably coming off that game feeling somewhat good. They realize that they are down, down the threshold in the points standings currently. But as we saw last game, standings can drastically change based off of just one game.
Ooh, it looked like, again, another fight, Pop-Tarts versus Third Impact, but Jazz turns around, was able to get the knock, and even though Third Impact looked like they were on the ropes, they didn't like the loot that they picked up, only white armors. With that knock, with the man advantage, they have an opportunity now to try and continue this fight. Nice angle being set up by Jazz. He's got that G7 scout with the iron sights. A little bit difficult to hit at range. Now Blight is getting shot up. It's Team Cheez-It coming in from the other side. Strictly is able to get the knock onto Blight, and Team Pop-Tarts find themselves down to just 1 player remaining as we join on board with Pringles, who have been getting into a lot of fights down here on the south-hand side, as it looks like the ring will be pulling down here. And we know that when we see a circle like this, teams will highly prioritize getting into this POI. For now, Hundreds with the scan out, seeing that the team is retreating, will go ahead and push on up. The Wraith has used that Q. Don't know which team they're fighting right now, but ooh, Hundreds peaks for a little bit too long and does lose his shields throughout all of that. But the rest of his team is here. They're ready to try and make a push. If Stink has that bubble, they might try to get aggressive with it, but Hundreds, it's going to have to be a defensive bubble as he took way too much damage, needs that fast heal, needs the reset for himself. It looks like it's just going to be a stalemate between both teams as they back away towards their respective lines of scrimmage. It's Cooler that's on the other side. Dell able to get that knock onto Stink. Oh, here's the push out, though. Hundreds stuck in his position. Nappy takes him out as they run on through. Stink, with only about 10 HP, will get full swung on by all 3 members of Cooler, and Pringles are out of the final game. Third Impact, though, continuing to find themselves in a fight. They did earlier on get a knock and a thirst onto nades. Should be down to a 2v2 here as Balon G himself gets thirsted off. Zicky with no HP. Jazz with no armor. Very tense situation. You still have to worry about possibly the third party coming in from Overlook or even TSM roaming on over here. But despite continuing to take so long as the res does get popped by Team Cheez-Its, Intel find themselves in a fight over here at Train Yard as well, as the nades are coming out from Panders. You got one on the high ground over by the bins, and it looks like Team Cheez-It will be able to finish off Third Impact, and we are down to 18 squads. Panders now getting aggressive here, pushing up to the bins. He's waiting for his squad to give him a little bit more information, and now he retakes the high ground for his team, and we don't even know which team is on the other side of this fight as Panders, peaks for too long. It's Two Brains, One Controller, Tech from the high ground, able to get that knock onto Panders, and now Team Intel are playing with a man down.
And this is huge for Two Brains, One Controller. They really need to come up and win this fight, as like I said, that they are tied for first currently right now. So if Two Brains, One Controller can come through and take control of this, they could really solidify a good solid standing for their team. But as I'm saying that, Tempest takes out 2 members of Two Brains, One Controller. So now it looks like we're going to have a 3v1, and Two Brains, One Controller is in a sticky situation.
Yeah, the scan is there. They know exactly where Noct is, and so they get the thirst, and it's going to be the armor swap possibly for Tempest, but he is sitting on 24 damage from evolving it, so he might just stick with that for now. Never mind, no, there's a purple in there, so he does swap. And we saw, I believe, Pop-Tarts getting finished off as well. So Team RAZER now over here at No Name, trying to keep an eye out on the teams rotating in from the north-hand side. It was CLG, I believe, that finished off Pop-Tarts. And so this could possibly be CLG roaming down, or it could also be TSM lingering in the area. ROCKSTAR, though, in a fight, we saw this. This was the end game circle for game number 1. Looks like we're going to have a repeating one. ROCKSTAR were able to win out in game number 1, but now they have a team on the high ground really forcing that position. Applejacks clean up CLG. What the hell happened? Completely missed out on that fight, unfortunately, but man, CLG going down. That's gonna, a lot of teams are gonna be breathe a sigh of relief and know that there's an opening now to try and get into the top 2.
Yeah, and then of course, obviously with Two Brains, One Controller being down to just one player as well, that really opens up the spots, because they had that huge advantage. They had that huge lead. I believe first place to fourth place was like over 20-something points, or just around there. So this is going to leave room for other teams to kind of come in and try to pick up some points here. Obviously, we have Rekinishu coming in with the massive, laying down the massive shots, as Rekinishu always does. The dude doesn't miss. Crummy coming in with the Volt SMG and getting taken down by Rambo. Rambo with an excellent shots. But now it looks like Rekinishu is going to go ahead and pull Crummy up. And now they're going to be able to potentially get Matt Pickett. They're going to pull off. They're in a sticky situation right now. Crummy's getting taken out. Rakinishu gets taken out by Rambo. And then Rambo also looks like he is taking out Crummy. Well played by Rambo there.
It's Cooler coming in for the third party, it looks like, to get involved as well. Rambo going down, and they still need to recover Yuki's banner and try to get a res for him. We'll see if they can find a mobile respawn beacon. Applejacks, this was a squad that took out CLG. Don't know exactly how it happened, but it did, as Lion able to find a knock onto Strictly. It's Team Cheez trying to recover here as Kenny does go down. Hambino pushing into that bubble, but Lion's got the massive to finish him off, and now they are on the hunt for that final member as Kenny will get res back up into this, and Klain will clean this one up. Applejacks will pick up all this loot, and they have so many kills right now. Klain currently sitting as the kill leader with 4 right now in this lobby. Surprisingly enough, Kenny on this oh my goodness, I've already forgot her name. On this Loba, we don't get to see. I believe we saw it earlier on today. I don't remember if it was Applejacks that was playing it, but yeah, Loba's seeing more competitive play, it seems like, today.
Yeah, I mean, and Loba, with being able to grab as much ammo as you need from it and stuff now too, it is something that can be, beneficial for a team. Although it really depends on what legends you are mixing with her, right? Now, one thing about Applejacks is they've had a pretty quiet night. Not saying that they've been completely silent, but we haven't seen a lot out of them. They came into game 6 and they just laid the smackdown onto CLG and really killed CLG from getting up to the first place position. So it's cool to see Applejacks just kind of jump in after having a quiet night.
Oh, Navi getting pushed by Solafide. 2 already down. There's only Max Strafe alive for them. Again, this is the aggression from Solafide as they will secure the thirst, but Strafey is out of there, and there's an opportunity. Maybe he can double back around, but it's so difficult to try and lurk and sneak back for these bodies when there's a Bloodhound in play. 303 might be running into Team ROCKSTAR here as they're playing over by the beacon building over to the east-hand side. Senpai still sitting on white armor. Very unfortunate for 303 here, as now they're making their move to get into Sorting Factory. For now, they'll drop below the bridge. They should be safe, and they back away up off of this one. They want to try and survive into the late game, of course. 13 squads remaining. They're almost there, but they need to get out of this fight. And yeah, the full team are to their east. Liquid, though, on a lurking hold, hoping that a team comes down through this train tunnel. I mean, you get to see, of course, there was some fighting going on over there. Cooler able to recover Yuki, getting back into this fight, but it looks like with that attempt, they lost Adele throughout that. Sentinels pushed up onto them. The defensive bombardment has been used as well as Nasky pushes into the bubble by himself, and he is almost out. The Sentinels are down to a solo. Oh boy. It's just the Bloodhound remaining, and Sentinels are out. Oh my goodness. The top has just been completely wide open.
Our top three has just been absolutely ripped. So quite honestly, I don't even think Sentinels really had that many KP there. CLG also not having much KP. So these leaderboards are going to get freaking switched up hard. Big time. Big time. So I'm really interested to see kind of what comes out of it here. I think Intel really might have a shot to come back from, you know, a less than fortunate game that they had earlier in game 4.
And here they are making a push onto Solo Fide. They've already gotten one knock onto Resulta. That's going to be the PK in the hands of Intel. Unfortunately, though, the crossfire was set up. You saw players set up inside basically the middle of tree in that triangle now, as Hill is going to try and throw down some nades to cover that, but the port might have already come out. Designful gets finished off. Resulta gets taken out by Hill with the beautiful hemlock shots, running that 3x. Now they know that they have the biggest advantage, should be a 1v3 at this point, as they go ahead and push forward to try and clean up Solo Fide, but Hill's got to be careful. Getting shot up from another team that's still here inside the tree. Resulta gentrifying finished off. Hill will keep an eye on their back for now, as Team Intel do regroup back inside the backside of tree and take this high ground.
And Intel, they're playing really well together right now. They are maintaining control. They're working together. They're moving together. They are the cohesion that they have currently right now seems like an unstoppable force. So if Intel can continue to do this throughout the match, continue picking up the KP, and if they can pop the win off, Intel might have the shot to overtake first place and take the W for tonight's games.
Ooh, Panders. He's got a team in front of them right now, and this is why Intel decided to double back around, watch their back here as the zone starts closing in, and make sure that they're not getting pushed from behind. You can see the scans are coming out. The bubble has been used as well by Hill. I don't know what prompted that one, but Panders is regrouping with his team. As you can see, it's a full 3-man pushing up. It's Team Liquid. The defensive bombardment has been thrown down as well, but Team Intel will be able to just regroup, find a small pocket. But oh boy, big connects. Nocturnal with the ROCKSTAR onto Hill. And now Intel are just backed up into a corner trying to survive using that knockdown shield. And here comes the repeat. The Mastiff out from Tempest gets the knock onto Flanker, but it's now down to a 1v2. Nocturnal will fall, and Applejacks are here for the third party, as they are looking to clean up Team Intel. And what a game for Team Applejacks.
Yeah, Applejacks, like I said, quiet, but really showing up in game 6 here. They were successful with the third party, jumped in there, got the kills, killed everybody. Now they're going to get loot, and they're going to get the heck out of Dodge. Obviously, they have a PK here, so it looks like they might be dropping the Massive for the PK. Plane is going to pick up the PK, and if they can make it to endgame, we can see some massive damage and potential massive kills from Applejacks. One thing too, Intel really popped off against Liquid there. They were in a 3v2 situation, and Tempest was really able to come up clutch with the huge shots, and I really thought Intel was going to be able to make it out of that. Unfortunate, Applejacks was there to pick up the third party, but still a solid game by Intel.
Yeah, they should have almost double digits in terms of kill points, but it's the placement points that don't align with them, unfortunately, not making it to the top 5. And as you can see, Stanny, he forgot his keys, locked himself out. We'll have to use another door to get back into this building. But here we go. We have the final circle. It is pulling over to the triangle, but there are a lot of endings for this one. There's 2 prevalent, of course, one ending on the triangle, then one ending on the buildings to the east. We'll see how the teams exactly play this one out, as Stanley will go ahead and lock the doors behind him this time around. Ron takes a lot of damage trying to hold down the stairwell. Here comes another barrel. Full push on out. It's Applejacks continuing to run the lobby. Kenny gets a second knock as well. Stanley gets thirsted along with Ron. They pick up 2 more kill points. What's in those Applejacks?
I was gonna say, you know what? I need to switch my cereal up. I need to start eating Apple Jacks if I can play like this by eating it, man. They are just absolutely dominating, putting on a show for Game 6, and they have everybody's number now. I truly think Apple Jacks, with the momentum and how aggressive and how well they're playing together, they actually might be able to take this game down.
If they didn't have double-digit kills beforehand, they definitely should have it now. Oh no, snipe down. Oh no, is he AFK? Did he disconnect? Oh wait, there's some movement. There's some movement. Maybe he has to plug in his controller.
His controller died.
Hopefully he can get it back.
His controller died.
Exactly. with 6 squads remaining, we are here in the end game as any team can push. So they need him back in now. As Applejacks want to continue this run, they are moving from team to team, from fight to fight. They are not letting go of the gas whatsoever. Another team in their sights. Klein with that Volt trying to get some damage off, but he is a little bit disconnected from the squad. And you know what? I didn't even realize that Klein was running the Octane this entire time. This is a crazy ass composition. You've got the Loba, you've got the Octane, and you've got the Wraith. A lot of movement, a lot of mobility for this squad. So teams might be getting caught out by the tempo of this fight, as here is Klein pushing in with that stim pack. And fortunately, though, it looks like RKT were able to make it out, but they are now stuck underneath. There's a team above them in the platform. They're safe for now. We've seen teams being able to play this position with the Caustic, but it's very unfortunate to lose out on Bird.
Well, and the thing where RKT is right now too, if they play right up on the wall, the rock wall there, if they stay tight on the rock wall, they might be able to use the verticality there to their advantage to kind of rotate out and not really be affected by the team up top. But it all depends on exactly what the site looks like from up top. If they're sitting, way up top and they can look straight down on them, then they're in a sticky situation. But they might try to hug the wall and try to make it rotate from the current position that they're in, because obviously that's not a position that they want to be in.
Here is the move coming out from Team RAZER, clearing out their bottom side, as we know that there was that Caustic team there, as the remnants of the traps still reminding them. RAZER now, again, sweeping in. They do move in slowly with the zone, walk up with that. Rice Krispies losing out on Stunny. That will be sniped down, and Imperial Hal to pick that one up. Kraber in the hands of Imperial Hal here in the late game. We'll see what kind of magic he can do with it, as 303 have taken out one from RAZER. RAZER was stuck up in the sorting factory area, I believe. They have answered back. Zara Tricky getting the thirst onto him as well. Imperial Hal will walk back to his squad. Thermite ticking down. Zara Tricky goes down. It's always Senpai with the Mastiff. Scissors follows up with the Wingman, but it's going to be 303. Cleaning up Team RAZER. We are now down to 4 squads remaining here. Applejack still alive, 2 brains, 1 controller. TSM as a full 3-man. As Applejacks tried for an invade, a kidnap attempt here, but they will be safe off of that, as no one really pushes in fear of course, maybe nades being thrown on top of the port and such. But here's the EMP coming out from 2 brains, 1 controller. Applejacks, they're gonna be okay. No one really challenged them here, but here's the push. Bowser comes out. Kenny gets taken out, and just like that, Applejacks only surviving with Klein on 1 HP. And oh my goodness, I forgot about the potency of taking the port after that EMP. It's TSM in a fight with 303. They've taken them out. TSM have lost Snipe Down. We'll see if 2 brains, 1 controller are able to pivot onto this here, as you do have the port being used by Imperial Hal to get him into safety, but it's 2 brains, 1 controller now with the final end zone, and they are looking for that final member of Applejacks. It's just Klein surviving on that Octane. He will passively regen his HP, so he doesn't have to heal and give off that sound cue. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. So we have a full 3-man on 2 brains, 1 controller, full 3-man for TSM, and just the solo rat in Applejacks. Klein surviving here into the late game.
And Klein's playing it right. He's just going to rat around. He's going to try to take time. He's going to let them try to fight it out. Now, something that's going to be huge here, and ideally we could potentially hop on board after we kind of check out what Klein's doing here, is I want to see Hal with the Kraber. Hal is absolutely disgusting with that gun. And if he can land the shots that he needs to, they can definitely overtake 2 brains, 1 controller. And it looks like here it is. Hal's going to start trying to position himself to be able to utilize that Kraber. He might use the rocks here and kind of do some quick head peeks with the rocks to try to get a pick on them. And it looks like they do want to get kind of aggressive here on Two Brains One Controller. Two Brains One Controller is controlling the high ground though, but Hal is just full sending it up there. So I'm assuming Two Brains One Controller may have pulled off just a little bit. Coming in with the bubble. Reps is coming in. Huge shot with the Massive by Reps. Coming in, getting the knock on Bowser. TSM is now going to be in a 3v2 situation versus Two Brains One Controller. They are going to kind of slow down just a little bit here. They want to solidify and get the KP for this one kill. Now they're going to be in that 3v2v1 situation. Currently, Klane's still ratting around. Klane's doing his best to, try and maybe take shots at somebody. It looks like he might be doing that here just now. Reps coming out with absolute monster shots, breaking the shield, fleshing them out. And it looks like Snipedown is actually trying to get an angle here. And he does. Snipedown takes out Tech and knocked. And Two Brains One Controller is going to go down, and TSM is going to take the win after killing Klane. But still, that's huge. Applejacks gets second place. Applejacks second place there.
Second place with a lot of kill points, and we'll see exactly what that does for them. But TSM finally get that win. They've been struggling all day long, and this is their best performance so far. And that was such a ballsy play, like you said, just pushing up against that squad. But I think TSM just understood the compositional differences. Of course, you had the Watson Crypto Wraith up against a squad that wants to just roll up on you. With the Gibraltar, you saw as soon as they got off that zip line, they throw down the bubble and they take the fight. Excellent play, excellent finish coming out from TSM, but was it enough? We'll find out after the break as we tabulate the results. When we get back, we'll find out who our first and second place positions are here in Pro Night for Series E. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Stack Pringles flavors. Make new ones.
How much do you think Pringles paid these people?
Hardly anything. Hey, you guys want to stack different Pringles flavors to create new flavor combos? Here, I'll go first. Pizza, barbecue, and jalapeno. The spicy barbecue pizza stack. Get him!
Grandpa, what's going on?
Pringles. We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen, and I didn't listen. Stack Pringles, make endless new flavors. Stacking Pringles to make new flavors. Make endless new flavors. Barbecue, wavy, and sour cream and onion equals a 3-layer dip stack.
Welcome back to Series E, as we had one hell of a final game there. It was Team Applejacks that was just running and just barreling through the lobby. We'll see exactly how much damage they did on the leaderboard. Let's go ahead and take a look at who ultimately ended up winning, as we do have just a little bit more to finish off here. 2 brains, 1 controller. Able to get there into the late game, will be able to win this all out. 61 points above Sentinels there, sitting at 55 in second place. So those are our 2 winners for the evening. 2 brains, 1 controller, winning out 2 games. Almost made it a third there at the end, taking this evening. And this is why we're always talking about them. 2 brains, 1 controller. Just have an excellent grasp of the macro game and take the W.
And that was a huge game by TSM too. Going into game 6, they had 29 points, coming out in 4th place with 49 points. Massive game, played it aggressive, played it well, but 2 brains, 1 controller, like we always talk about. Very consistent, knows how to show up, knows how to play, and knows how to stay consistent with the KP, and knows how to stay consistent with the placements. Sentinel's not too far behind, did a great job, and then CLG staying there at the 52 points, but nobody overtook CLG, so they're able to maintain that third, which will help them later on down in the future.
Yeah, and unfortunate for CLG because they ran into Team Applejacks in that final game, number 6. Don't know exactly what happened. We knew that CLG ended up roaming up towards Refinery Epicenter, that area, but it was Applejacks that came in, cleaned them up, and then started that momentous train of kills left and right throughout this. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they were able to do. This was Team Applejacks coming in and actually cleaning up Team Cheez-It. We saw a lot of fighting over here in the northeast side of the zone. And then things got a little bit dicey for them, a little bit scary, but big, massive shots coming out from Lion. And honestly, all 3 members of this squad doing massive, fantastic things with a very unorthodox composition, to say the least.
Yeah, and then obviously you can see here we have the Apple. This is the Applejacks versus the, or I'm sorry, this is the Liquid versus Intel fight where Applejacks was able to come in and just absolutely demolish the third party attempt. And this is really what I think kind of solidified their kind of positioning in the game because they were able to loot up and gather everything they needed. And if I recall correctly, there was a PK that they were able to gather from here as well. Now they weren't able to get much use out of it. Except for when they did, rush in here and pushed LG. But Applejacks just, as you can see, they played really strong. They had a excuse me, they had a 22-point game, and this goes to show, like, when you can play that aggro and you can be cohesive with your teammates, you guys can dominate. You can run them at.
Yeah, that was just the definition of full send coming out from Team Applejacks there. Unfortunately, it just was not enough. Bit off a little bit more than they could chew, ultimately going down. But 2 brains, 1 controller. They have the winners for the evenings. So they will be winning, taking the lion's share of $500 home. That's $300 going into their pocket, $100 per player. Of course, the $200 going over to, I believe, it was Sentinels. And so congratulations to our 2 teams. And of course, heading into the weekend, good luck, have fun to all of our competitors that will be playing in the ALGS Autumn Circuit playoffs. So that'll be fun to watch this weekend. But that's going to do it for us here at Series E. From KP5 and myself, from everyone at Esports Arena, all of our partner teams and our partners, excuse me. Thank you all for tuning in. That will do it for us. We will be back next week on Tuesday for more Series E action. So make sure you watch us on Tuesday for the open registration night. That'll be a fun time. That's going to do it for us. And so we're just going to sign off now. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night.